1 FM. Around the world, we're streaming live on 3news.com. My name is George Quinn, and top of the stories this are anti-corruption crusade that welcomes Ghana's new anti-corruption action plan and Public Utilities Regulatory Commission (PURC) to meet Traders Association over new tariff prices. And much later, 10 suspected Nigerian commercial service workers arrested at Sefri Shran. We have details of these and more coming up shortly. Just stick and stay with us. My name is Josh Quinn. It's always a pleasure bringing the news updates on to our very first story. The New Patriotic Party (NPP) has referred former presidential aspirant and Asin Central stalwart Kennedy Ohini Japan to a National Disciplinary Committee following a series of petitions filed against him over recent public comments deemed detrimental to party unity and cohesion. The committee has 2 weeks to investigate the petitions and submit its recommendations. National Youth Organizer Henry Nana Wachi announced this after the party's NEC meeting held on Thursday. Kennedy Japan in recent times have criticized some decisions taken by the NPP while in government, including its inability to complete the Afari military hospital and also threats by him to spill the beans if he is silenced in the party. Another co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption says the new anti-corruption plan will tackle the gaps that existed in previous corruption plans which failed to live up to its expectations. The National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Action Plan, NIACAP, 2026 to 2030 is Ghana's first year strategic blueprint aimed at combating systematic corruption and restoring public trust in governance. Managed directly under the Office of the President, it builds on previous frameworks with a heavier focus on ethical values, enforcement, and cultural change. Take a listen to Adam Sinano.
This was a very long process. All the various anti-corruption agencies, state ones, the partners, the UN agencies in corruption were all on board to create it. And we looked at the gaps, which included the lack of dedicated funding, the lack of an emphasis on the issue of ethics and integrity. I think that it builds very well on the gaps we identified and looks at how we can inculcate much more strongly issues of ethics right from, the educational system. It looks at how we could deal with issues of fraud and corruption.
Adam Sinano is the co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. And now the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, says reasons ascribed by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission (PURC) after tariff hikes do not support the situation on the ground. GUTA is therefore demanding a reduction in tariff hikes. The PURC had announced that electricity prices are increasing by 3.49% and water tariffs are rising by 0.85% effective July 1, 2026. President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Clement Boateng, said a formal meeting is scheduled between GUTA and PURC.
And if you do a true assessment of the reasons that they have given, you can say that it doesn't reflect the true situation of what we have. We have had a relatively good stability of our currency for some time now. Well, we have not had any opportunity to meet PURC. I must commend the executive secretary of PURC. He has called me. He has called me this afternoon and wants to, engage me either tomorrow or a Monday to try and see how best we could, find a solution.
Clement Boateng is the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA. And now Explorco, the exploration arm of GNPC, is set to begin onshore drilling in the Volscian Basin before the end of 2026 as part of efforts to explore oil reserves in an area identified as having significant petroleum potential. That's according to President Mahama. Speaking at a ceremony to cut the sod for phase 2 of the Central Oil Refinery project, the president said the expansion will increase the refinery's production capacity from 40,000 to 100,000 barrels per day.
I'm also happy to report that Explorco, which is the operating arm of GNPC, is poised to begin onshore drilling in the Volscian Basin before the end of this year. And when I say onshore, it means on land. offshore. So far, all our discoveries have been offshore in the sea. We've discovered a lot of potential onshore. And so GMPC is going to, through Exploco, start drilling wells to explore that oil before the end of this year. The research is about repositioning Ghana from a nation that primarily exports raw materials to one that processes, manufactures, refines, and creates value within its own borders.
John Dramani Mahama is the president of the Republic of Ghana. And now the minority has accused the government of contempt of court, alleging that it delayed the custodial sentence of Sedina Tamakula Tienu and took her into prison custody on June 24, 2026, 15 days after she was extradited to Ghana. A member of the Legal Affairs Committee, Nana Ej Bafwe, said Sedina did not begin serving her 10-year prison sentence until 24th June, after a public demand for her whereabouts.
She went in under protest because her assurance was that they were not going to have her go into prison custody and that they were going to work around the clock to have the decision overturned so that she will have her liberty. It is only because of the public pressure that the government has decided to deliver her into prison custody. By preventing her from serving the prison term for the 15 days that she has been in Ghana, government has interfered with a lawful order of a court of competent jurisdiction, and that is contempt of court. And the government will only do that because Madam Sedinam Tamaklo is one of its own.
Nana Ej Bafwe is a member of the Legal Affairs Committee of the Minority. And now, of Parliament. And now, a potentially catastrophic infrastructure failure is unfolding at Sekendi's Albert Busumtwe Fishing Harbour, where one of the high voltage transmission pylons evacuating power from the car power ship to the national grid may collapse due to severe erosion and repeated mudslides. The alarming development comes just days after a fire outbreak within the harbour enclave. Eroma Smith has more in the flow report.
Continuous heavy rains in Sekendi have triggered extensive slope failures along the stretch from the main entrance of the Albert Bosomtwe Fishing Harbour towards the operational zone of the car power ship and grid co-installations. Large sections of earth supporting one of the steel lattice transmission towers have been washed away, leaving portions of the tower's foundation dangerously exposed. The situation has become so precarious that sections around the structure have already been cordoned off following an earlier mudslide. A close inspection of the site shows significant disturbance around the tower base, with the natural embankment that previously provided lateral support to the foundation gradually disappearing due to erosion. This will significantly increase the risk of differential settlement and structural tilt, conditions that can result in sudden collapse under sustained wind or conductor tension loads. Residents, fisherfolk, and workers within the harbour enclave fear that another intense rainfall event similar to that experienced last week could trigger a major slope failure, undermining the remaining support structure and causing the transmission tower to buckle under its own weight. An unnamed source at the Albert Bosomtwe Fishing Harbour told TV3 News that repeated warnings and emergency alerts had allegedly been issued to both Gridco and car power ship over the deteriorating slope conditions long before the peak of the rainy season.
And that was a report filed by my colleague Eroma Smith. Before we part company, 10 supposed Nigerians have been arrested by the BBNE police for allegedly engaging in commercial sex work at Chirano in the BBNE and Huasubekwa municipality of the Western North region. Speaking to the 3 News, the municipal coordinator of the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit, Dr. ASP Evelyn Ainati Itamke, confirmed the arrest and disclosed that the suspect admitted they had voluntarily traveled to Ghana to engage in the activity. ASP Itamke explained that prostitution is contrary to the laws of Ghana and indicated that the police are collaborating with the Ghana Immigration Service to facilitate the repatriation of the suspects to their home country. She further cautioned landlords and property owners against renting out their premises for criminal activities. On that note, we end the morning news. Before we go look again at our top stories, and Anti-Corruption Crusader welcomes Ghana's new Anti-Corruption Action Plan. Public Utilities Regulatory Commission (PURC) to meet Traders Association over new tariff prices. 10 suspected Nigerian commercial service workers arrested at Treasury Chiran. My name is George Quinn. For more news updates, just log on to our website, s3news.com. It's always a pleasure. Anyway, good morning.
$602 billion cedis in today's Treasury bill auction to bounce back from its previous under-subscription. And Chief Executive Officer of Daylex Finance, Joe Jackson, advises low inflation requires tactical shift for businesses amid rising producer costs.
Thinking during the time of high inflation should be different from our thinking in the time of low inflation. And that our thinking should now revolve around, is my cost rising faster than my revenue?
Plus, Trade Minister discloses Central Phase 2 expansion to drive downstream petrochemical manufacturing base.
To attract petrochemical manufacturers, fertilizer blenders, and plastics processors, not as energy products, but as export-oriented manufacturing investment under our Accelerated Export Development Program.
These and many other stories lined up for you. I am Michael Obodu. Stay tuned. Well, straight into our top story, and Government of Ghana returns to the domestic capital market, seeking to borrow 4.602 billion cedis through its weekly Treasury bill auction across the standard 91-day, 182-day, and 364-day tenors. This report has the details.
This latest auction is a critical move by the government to rebound from a recent setback on June 19, 2026, which saw an undersubscription from investors. In that previous auction, the state fell short of its 5.274 billion cedis target, securing only 4.206 billion cedis as investor appetite waned. 3Business is closely watching this week's auction to see if government will adjust interest rates to entice institutional investors and banks back into the fold, or if liquidity constraints on the domestic market will continue to pose a challenge to the state's short-term enhancing goals. Historically, government has relied heavily on these short-term instruments to manage its immediate fiscal deficit, making consistent investor participation vital for national budget execution. However, persistent macroeconomic pressures and fluctuating inflation rates have left local investors increasingly cautious about tying up capital without higher premium yield. If this auction fails to meet a target of 4.602 billion cedis again, the Ministry of Finance may be forced to explore more stringent expenditure cut or seek domestic alternative financing avenues to cover its obligations.
And that was a 3Business News Desk report. Away from that, the Chief Executive Officer of Daylex Finance has urged local businesses to shift their mindset from the historical eras of hyperinflation and adapt to the current low inflationary regime. Joe Jackson warned local business owners must urgently reevaluate how they manage operations and risk as the country navigates a low inflationary regime mixed with surging behind-the-scene production costs.
Consumer price inflation for March 2026 stood at 3.2%. That of April was 3.4% and increased to 3.7% in May. Producer price inflation in March 2026 was 1.6%, rose to 2.7% in April, and more than doubled to 5.8% in May. Speaking on economic trends affecting the private sector, Jackson noted that while standard headline inflation is currently stable, underlying operational pressures are quietly mounting.
Our thinking during the time of high inflation should be different from our thinking in the time of low inflation. And that our thinking should now revolve around, is my cost rising faster than my revenue? Watch the producer price index. Watch the fact that between April and May, it shot up and more than doubled. That is why you shouldn't be sleeping. The house is not on fire. Let it not be said that inflation has reached a place where we are all worried and scared. That's not what we are saying.
The Dalex Finance Board identified external factors over which local businesses have no control, such as climate changes and global conflicts, as imminent threats that will trickle down into the domestic economy.
This is an effect across West Africa. So the places where we import food from, they will also be suffering the same effects of unseasonal weather patterns that we are suffering. Then you have the issue of the Hormuz Strait, and fuel prices are going up. It means we should expect that not only would food be scarce, the cost of transportation will go up, all increasing inflationary pressures.
Jackson urged business operators to discard passive approaches and implement aggressive protective measures across 3 key areas.
You should be cautious. That is why you should be careful about taking dollar credit. That is why you should give short-term credit when you give credit. And that is why, most importantly, you should practice discipline in the expenditure.
That was the CEO of Dalex Finance, Joe Jackson, ending that report. Now, the Minister for Trade and Agribusiness, Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejari, has disclosed that government is in active discussions with global investors to anchor a thriving downstream petrochemical ecosystem around the Central Oil Refinery. Speaking at the sword-cutting ceremony for Phase 2 of the refinery project in Tema, the Trade Minister emphasized that the facility is engineered to transcend basic fuel generation.
My recent engagement with prospective investors across Morocco, China, the United Kingdom, and beyond have confirmed a deepening and genuine interest in Ghana's business environment. It is no surprise then that companies such as Centro have moved from interest to action, committing additional investment in the second phase of this project. My ministry has been in active discussion with investors to establish downstream industries that will deepen our manufacturing base. This refinery gives us the feedstock security to attract petrochemical manufacturers, fertilizer blenders, and plastics processors, not as energy products, but as export-oriented manufacturing investment under our Accelerated Export Development Program.
So that was the Minister for Trade, Industry and Agribusiness, Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejari, speaking there. Now, meanwhile, Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Abdullahi Jinapor, has declared that the expansion of the Central Oil Refinery will serve as a cornerstone for anchoring the country's energy security and resource value retention. He noted that upon completion of the Phase 2 expansion, direct employment levels at the refinery will scale up significantly, jumping from the current 700 to 800 personnel to approximately 1,500 personnel.
Adding value to our own products and resources, we are going to take the Central Refinery from a refinery capacity of 40,000 barrels per day to 100,000 barrels per day upon completion. So we are anchoring energy security. We are adding value to our own resources, but more importantly, we are creating jobs. And from my discussion with the chairman, the employment level will move from about 700 or 800 to 1,500 upon completion of this refinery. That means we are impacting homes. We are also anchoring our economy, protecting ourselves from global shocks, and stabilizing our currency. And so for those of you who think that it's just figures, we are talking of real employment and real jobs for the people of Ghana.
So that was Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Dr. John Abdullahi Jinapo. We'll bring you updates now from the currency and the commodities market.
On the interbank foreign exchange markets, the dollar is selling at 11 cedis 27 pesos. It gained 4 pesos. The British pound is selling at 14 cedis 90 pesos. It gained 9 pesos. The euro is selling at 12 cedis 83 pesos. It also gained 8 pesos. However, be guided that these figures could be higher at the Forex Bureau name. On the global commodities market, Brent crude is trading at $75.61 per barrel. Gold is trading at $4,038.54 per ounce, up by $39.13. Cocoa is trading at $5,247 per ton, up by $274.
And those were updates from the currency and the commodities market. But before we leave you, Government of Ghana has finalized agreement with the Ghana Chamber of Mines to purchase 30% of the gold output from all large-scale mining firms effective July 1, 2026, under the new framework coordinated by the Finance and Lands and Natural Resource Ministries. The gold will be bought locally in raw door form. Transactions will be settled in cedis using the Bank of Ghana reference rate at a 0.55% discount, widening the scope of a previous 2022 central bank arrangement. The policy aims to secure local value retention, targeting London Bullion Market Association accreditation for at least one domestic refinery by 2030. The initiative supports the Ghana Accelerated National Reserve Accumulation Program's target of 15 months of imports covered by late 2028 and President Mahama's vision of zero raw material exports by 2030. On that note, that'll be all for the business segment here on the morning show. For more stories, check out our website, it's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for tuning in. As always, please stay safe, and your regular host is here in his
here on the 3FM Sunrise, and a big thank you to Michael Obodu, who helped us with the business news here on the 3FM Sunrise, and same for George Quainin with the 6 a.m. news here on the 3FM Sunrise. It's our 10 on the last day of the week. It's the last Friday of the month of June. Thank you very much for staying, and we'll share a message with you, and then we get into some great music, kind catchy DJ Phil as well after the weather update. A reminder that we're streaming live on Facebook. Our handle is 3FM927, same handle as well on YouTube, 3FM927. It's where you can catch this show if you're on the move and do not have a radio set near you. A reminder as well, we're live in Tamale on Kesmi 107.1 FM. A big shout to all of our lovely listeners from Tamale and the neighboring parts of the northern region. This morning, I'm sharing something quite simple, and I start with a very simple question. Are you living your life, or are you watching it happen? Sometimes, without realizing it, people become spectators in their own story. They sit on the sidelines waiting for a perfect opportunity, waiting until they feel ready, and waiting until everything is guaranteed, and waiting for fear and whatever doubt it is to disappear. The truth, however, is that life rarely gives anyone a perfect moment. Many of the greatest decisions, achievements, and transformations begin with one thing: a person choosing to step forward before everything else makes sense. There's a difference between observing a game and playing it. The person in the stands can see everything. They can analyze, they can criticize, they can even explain exactly what should have been done. And in this season of football, all of us can at least appreciate and understand what it means to be watching on from the stands or from our homes on TV. But while we watch and analyze and criticize, we never experience the thrill, the pressure, the victory, or the lessons that come from being on the field. And that is how life is sometimes. You watch others take risk, you watch others chase dreams, and you watch others create opportunities. And slowly convince themselves or yourself that those things are for other people and not for you. But every meaningful story begins or belongs to someone who eventually decided to be a partaker in their own story. A person does not become a great musician by only listening to music. A person does not become an entrepreneur by only studying success stories. A person does not become who they are meant to be by constantly waiting for the right conditions. At some point, there must be action. Not perfect action, not fearless action, just movement. Because confidence is not always what comes before action. Sometimes, confidence is created because action was taken. And so this morning, as you listen in and be a part of the last edition of the show on Friday in the month of June, ask yourself this question. Right? Am I willing to begin? Not am I ready? Am I willing to begin? Take that step, make that call, start that journey, attempt that thing that has been sitting in your heart, because life was never meant to be watched from the sidelines. You were created to be an audience member in your own story. You were not created to be an audience in your own story. May today bring you the courage to step forward and actively create the life you so desire. That's our message of motivation for the morning. It will set us up pretty nicely into our weather update as well this morning for you, kind courtesy the Ghana Meteorological Agency, who have decided to go into new trends, right? And so we're expecting it to be sunny all throughout today, and temperatures ranging between 25 to 35 degrees Celsius all throughout today. And transition sectors in terms of rain and water view will seek to make meaning of this latest trend. But you can get onto their latest or their social media handles and catch that for yourself. But let's get into some great music right now. Kind courtesy DJ Phil, after which we're back and get into the newspapers for you here on the 3FM Sunrise. I am Mawen Agbeta. I'm thankful that you've decided to join us and have us be a part of your morning. a long journey from now to 10 a.m. Big conversations expected as well for you. But for now, we're getting into the newspapers here on the 3FM Sunrise. Minutes to the top of the hour. Big banner story on the front page of the Daily Graphic reads: Government mines seal historic gold pact. 30% large-scale production goes to gold board. It's a desk report. It has a picture of Frederick Atakuma, who's the president of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, and Christopher Nyako, also of the Chamber of Mines in charge of analysis and research. Then Ken Ashigbe, the CEO of the Chamber of Mines, and Sami Jemfi, the Gold Board CEO, after announcing the agreement. And yesterday you would have caught wind of it because they posted on social media as well as the breaking news. All in relation to the GANRAP project as well by the government, where we're seeking to rack up a bit more in terms of gold purchases to build reserve, amongst other things. I'll get you the details because it's replete on a number of front pages this morning here for you on the 3FM Sunrise. Also here, first national disaster risk strategy underway. And there's some good news. A bill to end witchcraft accusations under consideration. That's according to the local government minister. So most certain, a number of things I will return to the Daily Graphic for to get details of. So essentially, for me on the witchcraft accusation bill, right? What happens to the one that was passed by private members bill, pushed by Medina MP Francis Xavier Sosu? Well, say Sibo has been speaking. That on the back page of the Daily Graphic stories by Maurice Kwanzaa says we're beating Croatia for top spot. Sibo assures. Mighty man Sibo. Mighty man Sibo. Speaking ahead of the game. That game is on tomorrow at 9 p.m. Ghanaian Times next on my bill. Boosting national reserves. Government secures 30% gold offtake deal with mining firms. Latif Idrisu assault case. Court orders continuation after AG IGP fail to settle matter. Bank of Ghana tightened sanctions on dat check offenders. Telecel codes program nurtures next generation of digital innovators. Ghana needs preventive disaster strategy. That's according to NADMO. The back page of the newspaper, that's the Ghanaian Times to be specific. Black Stars set for Croatia test tomorrow. That game becomes all important if you look at how things are panning out. Because a lot of the third place teams are qualifying with 4 points. A lot of them are racking 4 points. And it's looking even more difficult for Senegal ever than ever. Croatia are on 3. They'll need that point or possibly a win to guarantee their qualification into the next round. Ghana most certainly should have made it through, but there are arguments and debate as to whether we finish second or we finish third. Kwesi Sibo on the back page of the Daily Graphic says we're going for gold, we're finishing first. You know, all of that wouldn't have been necessary should we have beaten England. You know, that missed penalty. not missed penalty. That penalty call that didn't come for us has become ever more so important now than ever. Chamber signed 30% large-scale gold purchase deal. I told you it was on almost every front page. That story as well. Gold boss Sami Jemfi flanked by Kenneth Ashigbe, Frederick Atakuma, and an official of the chamber. Sedina was not in prison for 15 days. It's according to the NPP. Sedina was not in prison for 15 days. Wuntumi's lawyer urges court to defer judgment. As according to the family, and Herald editor jailed for contempt of court. You know, on that Black Stars conversation, we'll get into it when the sports team comes. But let me just pick quick thoughts from Nuhu Adams as well. It's a sports journalist and analyst with us not with us here in the country. Nuhu, good morning to you. I trust that you're well.
I'm doing fine.
Talk to us. This final group fixture against Croatia. It's brought about very interesting permutations. What are the odds like, and what are our best chances of going beyond the round of 32, even as we prepare for that all-important game?
Yeah, I can say we are almost through to the round of 32. We are just waiting for confirmation. 4 points is enough. Looking at the other groups and the best placed teams. So at West, even if we lose to Croatia, we still qualify to the round of 32. But the crucial point now is looking for which opponent will be best for us in the round of 32. If we are able to finish first, we look at the teams available. We are likely to face an African opposition if we are able to top the group, or we face Ecuador. But looking at our situation, first is being first or finishing first in our group is highly impossible, because England are playing against Panama, and England are beating Panama, so they are not going to score less than a goal. So once they are able to get at least a goal or two, that means even if Ghana beat Croatia, we will still be second in the group. And finishing second means we play against Portugal or Colombia, regardless of the positions, or depending on the positions, they also finish in their groups. And we play before Colombia, Portugal play. So it's on us to decide where we want to play in the next round, because if we finish second, it means we are going to Toronto, Canada, which we all know Thomas Partey has been banned to travel to Canada. So the moment we finish second, it means Thomas Partey is unavailable for us, regardless of the opposition. And if we finish third, we are going to face either Portugal or Colombia. But that match will be played in USA. So that is making things a little bit confusing. So I don't know what the coaches are discussing. I don't know what the top officials are discussing. Ghanaians can decide which one would they prefer. Ghana should go ahead, beat Croatia, or draw against Croatia, finish second in the group, and play our round of 32 game in Toronto, Canada, without Thomas Partey, or we finish third, still face either Portugal or Colombia, but the game will be played in USA. So that has been the confusion now. So we will see how things will go tomorrow.
Well, that's a difficult place to be in all sincerity as to what next for us. But Panama doesn't have any motivation at all to want to go out and get results against England, and so now
Panama will only play for pride and prestige. Even if they win 100-0 against England, they will still end up finishing bottom of the group. That's why right after their two defeats, they were confirmed out of the group, because even if they win their last match, they still don't have any position that can qualify them into the next round. So Panama will just go in, play for pride and prestige, like we've seen other countries do. Curaçao played in that kind of situation. We saw yesterday Turkey going out of the World Cup, but they still managed to beat the host United States of America just for pride and prestige, because the results didn't change their position on the table. So Panama, there's no motivation for them. They can only pride themselves if they are able to get at least a draw against England.
At least a draw will not be entirely favorable for us as well, will it? But
yeah, if Panama are able to hold England, it means we should beat Croatia at all costs to finish first on the standings. And if that is possible, it means we are going to avoid either Portugal and Colombia and still play the round of 32 game in USA. The only time we are discussing Portugal or Colombia is where either we finish second or third, but we decide where to play our next round of games. That's either Toronto or Atlanta. So that's the difficult situation now. I don't know which is the best result for the coaches. I don't know which is the best result for officials. I don't know which one Ghanaians will prefer.
Right, Nuhu, I'm sure as it inches ever closer, we will get a sense as to where our loyalties or our leanings will lie in terms of the type of results we'll be looking out for. But I appreciate you joining us this morning as well on the show.
Thank you very much.
That's Nuhu Adams. He's a sports journalist here in the country with us, helping us appreciate in terms of what we should be looking out for, right? So let me know what you think and what results you would prefer. Also looking at the possible opponents we could face in the round of 32. Would you rather have us fight for a pride and place, go up second, travel outside of the USA to Canada where one of our key players cannot feature in, or we allow ourselves to be beat by Croatia, which will almost certainly still guarantee a qualification, but we'll have to stay in the US, and then we face some very interesting opposition, possibly Ecuador, right? See me live on Facebook, same as well on YouTube. Let me know what you think of that as well. I'll return to the papers for us quickly. The final newspaper, the New Finder. Government applies for license to establish Women's Development Bank. That story is on page 12 of the newspaper. BOG warns that check offenders of 3-year ban. Ghana's growth to slow to 4.7% in 2027. Ghana set to face Croatia tomorrow, and bond market turnover falls to 5.41 billion cedis. The News Center, judge jails Larry Dogbe despite service notice dispute. Catherine Engman, the renowned boardroom builder. There's a story on her on page 8. Gold Board raises gold uptake to 30% from 20% agreement with large-scale miners. Amrahia demolition victims seek Mahama intervention. That story is on page 3. And Tema fishers blame low catch on climate change legal fishing. The Punch Africa, Sami Jemfi's transformation of PMMC into gold board. KDR Wright, majority leader, charges MPs to protect public purse. ECOWAS court vindicates government in ex-Chief Justice case. Honorable Doyo advocates stronger support for widows. Apenyo Markin returns to ECOWAS Parliament after recomposition. And Government Chamber of Mines to purchase 30% of gold output from large-scale mining firms. The catalyst is the last one I have. Gold Board strikes a major deal to boost reserves and raw mineral export. Pantiakwa South NDC in turmoil as branch executives arrest sparks intimidation claim. Herald's editors jailing sends chilling signal to journalists. And Wuntumi's new lawyer seeks delay in a Akwanta mining case, citing fair trial concerns.
3FM Sunrise.
I mentioned I was going to return to the Daily Graphic for quite a number of details. The first is that one on government or gold board sealing a 30% large-scale production uptick. It's a news desk report, and it reads that government through the Ghana Gold Board has secured a landmark agreement with the Ghana Chamber of Mines to buy 30% of the gold output of all large-scale mining companies in Ghana. The deal takes effect from July 1 this year as the government moves a step higher to maximize national benefits from the mineral resource. Under the agreement, all the large-scale mining companies will sell 30% of their gold output to Gold Board locally in Ghana in DOR, that's the raw form, and at a discount of 0.55%. Furthermore, all gold purchases under the new agreement will be in Ghana cedis and at the Bank of Ghana reference rates. The Gold Board will work under the joint direction of the Minister of Finance, Land and Natural Resource to execute the agreement on behalf of the government of Ghana. Now, the government statement. Now, speaking of the official announcement of the agreement, the Chief Executive Officer of the Gold Board, Sami Jemfi, said the deal will support the gold reserve accumulation, improvement economic. It will support gold reserve accumulation, improve economic buffers, and help government to achieve its economic stability objectives. We will be taking the refined gold to LBMA refineries outside Ghana for melting and stamping and for onward delivery of the related bullion to the Bank of Ghana. So this arrangement is going to help us further develop and promote our local refining capacity and local value retention, and it is going to fast-track our agenda to achieve LBMA accreditation for at least one of the gold refineries we have in the country in the next 3 years as directed by the president. And so that is pretty much the latest in relation to this development. And it's been on the front pages of a number of papers because it comes in at record good time. I'm just going to try and have us listen to Sami Jemfi in his own words, right, as to exactly what all of this means, as well as the latest from the other representatives from the Ghana Chamber of Mines who were all present and spoke briefly as well in relation to this particular subject matter. And here are the individuals in their very own words, right, one after the other, addressing the country in relation to this matter.
A senior official of the chamber joined us today, and we have good news to communicate to the people of Ghana and by extension the world. After months of negotiations with large-scale mining companies in the country. We are happy to inform the nation that the government has secured an agreement with large-scale mining companies in the country, represented by the Ghana Chamber of Mines, for them to sell 30% of their output, their gold output, to the government of Ghana, represented by the Ghana Gold Board. And this has come about, as I said, through months of negotiations at the behest of the Minister of Finance, the Governor of the Central Bank of Ghana, and the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. So, on behalf of the President of the Republic and the Minister for Finance, I would like to thank the Chamber of Mines for leading this process and for the concessions they have made in helping us reach this agreement, which will go a long way to support gold reserve accumulation, improve economic buffers, and help government achieve its economic stability objectives. We are very, very excited that unlike the previous arrangements, this time around we will not just be getting 20% but 30%. This is historic. This is landmark, and we are grateful for that. Again, unlike the previous arrangements, we will be buying this gold in Ghana cities, locally in Ghana, in a form of dory. And we will be refining this gold locally in Ghana. We'll be taking the refined gold to LBMA refineries outside Ghana for melting and stamping, and for onward delivery of the related bullion to the Bank of Ghana. So this arrangement is going to help us further develop and promote our local refining capacity and local value retention, and it is going to fast track our agenda to achieving LBMA accreditation for at least one of the gold refineries we have in the country in the next 3 years, as directed by the President. And so we are very, very excited about this landmark agreement, and we commend the Ghana Chamber of Mines.
The Ghana Chamber of Mines have been aligned to this objective of ensuring that Ghana refines, its gold. It's in line with our whole process of supporting Ghana extracts maximum value from the entire value chain. And as we said when we joined the Gold Board and Gold Coast Refinery at the signing agreement, we had initiated some conversations already. We had gone to Rand Refinery ahead of all of that, set up a technical committee. So our commitment to this process has not been in doubt. We also are in support of Ghana's quest to be able to build our war chest of the reserves, because again, any gold mine, any business will thrive in a stable macro environment. So and that's a good thing to do, and we're happy with being able to get some concessions, being able to agree on how this can be done. The good thing is that whatever we are starting, the process is to be able to increase efficiency, so the cost, that we as mining firms will be going down as the years go along, and then we would then at the end of the 3 years be able to ensure that we have an LBMA certified refinery in Ghana, and that would be a plus for all of us.
We're very excited that we can be part of this, if you like, monumental milestone that has been achieved, and would like to place on record our gratitude to the Chief Executive of the Ghana Gold Board and his team for their cooperation and collaboration with us as we navigated this. It's the outcome of a couple of months of very intense, negotiations and learnings from each other as we looked at the different interests. And for us, finally, the Chamber of Mines and its members are corporate citizens of Ghana. Our commitment is also to Ghana to ensure that Ghana becomes, the destination of choice when it comes to the mining ecosystem we want to have, and importantly to grow, not just stay where we are, but grow in our sector. So we are grateful for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So that was Frederick Atakuma speaking last. We also heard who's the president of the Chamber of Mines. Then we had Ken Ashigbe speaking after Sami Jemfi had spoken as well. And so that is the good news, which is replete on a number of front pages this morning. But I want to take you to page 13 now of the Daily Graphic, right? Because the local government minister says bill to end witchcraft accusation is currently under consideration. The story is by Nana Konedu Ajiman. It reads that the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs is considering the adoption of an anti-witchcraft bill aimed at ending the scourge of witchcraft accusation in Ghana. The Minister for Local Government and Religious Affairs has told Parliament. He said the private member's bill on witchcraft accusations introduced by the Member of Parliament for Medina, Francis Xavier Sosu, sought to criminalize witchcraft accusations, protect victims and punish perpetrators. He explained that while the bill had been tabled, it had not yet been passed into law. Collaboration with the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection remains essential to safeguard vulnerable populations and ensure comprehensive protection mechanisms, including shelters for victims of witchcraft accusation, domestic violence, child trafficking, and child marriage, he said. Now, on the review of existing laws, this is what he had to say. Addressing Parliament yesterday, Mr. Ibrahim said his ministry had set a target to review 2 existing laws on witchcraft enacted within the sub-region with the aim of aligning Ghana's legal framework with international human rights standards. Mr. Speaker, let us rise together as Parliament, chiefs, faith-based leaders and civil society to end the scourge of witchcraft accusation. Let Ghana be known not for exclusion and fear, but for dignity, compassion and justice, he said. The minister stated this in response to a question from the MP for Kumeu, Enesiao Enin, who asked about measures being taken to rally the support of chiefs and community stakeholders to address witchcraft accusations. The minister said the phenomenon of witchcraft accusations remain a pressing social challenge in Ghana, often resulting in stigma, violence and exclusion of vulnerable groups, especially women, children and the elderly. Now, there's a school of thought, right? And this is from some of the advocates. There's a school of thought that pastors or some religious leaders, let me put it kindly, some religious leaders are behind the failure of the past legislation under the 8th Parliament from coming to light, because it was directly going to affect business in terms of activities by them. I am tempted not to believe, because this entire process, which is to start all over again, we had work done with it. In fact, that legislation, that private members legislation which was passed, did not face any scrutiny or did not face any opposition in Parliament. So it beats the mind slightly why that was not assented to by the previous administration, and we're almost 2 years into President Mohammed's tenure, and we're now being told by the local government minister that work is underway to have a new bill tabled for consideration. Right? It just doesn't quite sit well in terms of a protection of that vulnerable group. And I'm hoping we can speak to some of the NGOs who pushed greatly for the passage of the bill, right? Because by now, and this was a promise by the president as well during his campaign days. He said he was going to ensure that the legislation is passed to protect women from being accused, particularly the elderly, from being accused, so that the witch camps can be disbanded as well, and these persons returned to society so they can live freely. If there's anything to go by, the minister is saying that the previous legislation was to criminalize persons who falsely accuse others of witchcraft, because these are matters of spirituality and you cannot really prove, right? But let us know what you think as well in relation to the subject matter, because it's going to take me to Facebook so I can get a few of the comments that a number of you have been sharing with us here on the 3FM Sunrise as to exactly the stories we've been bringing to you. But while at that, I'm still on pages 13 of the Daily Graphic newspaper, where there is plans to have a national disaster risk strategy. The story is by Juliet Echan Safo, and it reads that the country has begun developing its first comprehensive national disaster risk reduction strategy and action plan to serve as a national framework for coordinated disaster prevention, preparedness, response, and recovery. The plan would strengthen institutional collaboration, promote risk-informed development planning, and establish a national technical working group on early warning and anticipatory action. A multi-stakeholder consultation meeting on the development of the disaster risk reduction strategy and plan was held in Accra yesterday, June 25, to assess the country's achievements in disaster management and identify existing gaps and opportunities and provide technical inputs for strategy that will reduce disaster risks across sectors while protecting lives, livelihoods, and the economy. I know there are demolition of some structures by a number of organizations, right? Is it AMA that is going around and pulling down structures which are not fit for purpose? One of the papers had a story like that yesterday. But I'll switch lanes quickly and take you to Parliament proper, because the minority has alleged that former Chief Executive Officer of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, Maslow, Sedina Tamaklo, was not placed in prison custody for 15 days after returning to Ghana despite being subject to a custodial sentence. I'm going to pause here and have us listen to the Menchia South Member of Parliament, who's also the NPP's Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee spokesperson, Nana J. Bafor, address the media on this, and then I'll return with a bit more for you.
We can categorically state that until yesterday, the 24th of June, Madam Sedina Tamaklo was not in prison custody. And so from the 9th of June when she arrived to the 24th of June yesterday, she was not in prison custody. 15 clear days. And that was why the Minister for Interior could confidently come out yesterday. And so if you observe, following her return, the communication was by the Minister for Communication. And that had a lot of controversy. And that is why the media kept pressing. And yesterday, when she was admitted into prison custody, that was when the Minister for Interior came out. We can again confirm that she is in the female prison of a medium prison installation. Our intelligence is that she went in under protest because her assurance was that they were not going to have her go into prison custody, and that they were going to work around the clock to have the decision overturned so that she will have her liberty. It is only because of the public pressure that the government has decided to deliver her into prison custody. By preventing her from serving the prison term for the 15 days that she has been in Ghana, government has interfered with a lawful order of a court of competent jurisdiction, and that is contempt of court. And the government will only do that because Madam Sedinam Tamaklo is one of its own.
Asking questions as to why this was even a subject matter of conversation to start off with. It simply should have been something that the government deals with, and we're done, right? If this person has been extradited into the jurisdiction, she's taken into prison custody to serve a term, and that brings an end to any such conversation. But unfortunately, that did not happen, at least from what the minority is telling us. It resulted in speculations, government spokespersons having to provide explanations, and now the minority is alleging or claiming that she was only taken into custody on the 24th of June, right? 15 clear days after she arrived into the jurisdiction, and further alleging that there was some assurance that she wasn't going to be incarcerated and that the process was that we cannot speak to, because those are allegations which we do not have substance of which there is proof. But on the subject matter of whether or not she was subsequently, or she was taken into prison custody immediately she made herself available, or she was brought into the jurisdiction, that became very debatable, because people trusted little the position of government, and government spokesperson, Minister for Government Communication Felix Kwachofosu, had cause to address this in other media conversations on other media platforms in seeking to answer questions after Imani Franklin Kujo said they had it on good word that she was in some house arrest of some sort and wasn't in prison custody. Again, some of these things are completely needless in the grand scheme of governance, public perception, and the general sense as to whether or not all persons will be treated equally before the law. Because if she's going to go into custody, what prevents the state from doing so immediately? Or is it the case that the incessant questions being asked is what has forced the hand of government into finally agreeing to take her into custody? These are all questions you and I cannot both answer in relation to what may have played out. Well, we understand that the Interior Ministry says that they will be making a formal response on the minorities' press conference today, because we had sought to get a bit from them. But we understand that an official statement will be issued in seeking to address head-on the claims by the minority from yesterday. And so we will, I'm sure we'll get the full details from there. But be that as it may, what prevented that assured word from coming through in terms of the subject matter of public perception, good governance, and the government's own quest to have persons answer for crimes against the state in terms of corruption. And oh, by the way, there's a new anti-corruption plan as launched by the president yesterday. It's supposed to guide us from 2026 up until 2030. The question that brings readily to mind is, how different is this from the others which have been announced in the past? Here's the president speaking to this yesterday when it was formally launched.
And I wish to use this platform to restate my commitment to transparent and accountable governance. In my past presidency, I had the privilege of launching the 10-year National Anti-Corruption Action Plan in 2015. And I'm pleased to report to you that just yesterday, Cabinet approved the new National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Action Plan, (2026 to 2030) for onward transmission to Parliament. I'm also happy to announce to you that yesterday Cabinet took a decision directing the Attorney General to draft a bill for the protection of state assets. It's called the State Assets Protection Bill. It shows the guidelines under which any state assets can be disposed, including lands, buildings, state assets, factories, industry, so that no government just capriciously disposes of state assets.
That's President Mahama. The last we saw of National Anti-Corruption Plan was in 2016, and if you go on to Shraj's website, you find a copy of a 72-page report there. We're hoping we can get a bit more in terms of details, right? But let me take you to the Ghana News Agency's portal and see if it provides a bit more in terms of the details as to this National Anti-Corruption Plan and what this will seek to do and how different it will be from the 2016 one. Because even from the nomenclature, that's different. In 2016, we had National Anti-Corruption Plan. In 2026, 10 years on, we have National Ethics. So there's ethics which have been introduced, an anti-corruption action plan. Right? It's expected to last from 2026 to 2036. And the story is by Idi Yire. And it reads that President Mahama announced on Thursday, June 25, that Cabinet has approved the new National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Plan 2026-2036 for onward transmission to Parliament. This is part of the government efforts to ensure transparency and accountability. The President also announced that the Cabinet took a decision directing the Attorney General to draft a bill for the protection of state assets, known as a State Assets Protection Bill. He added that it showed the guidelines under which any state assets could be disposed of, including lands, buildings, and what have you. Now, the two-day conference on the theme Reimagining Partnership for Democratic Consolidation and Intensive Development is organized by Star Ghana Foundation. It brought together stakeholders from across civil society, government, and what have you. Now, President Mahama said during his previous presidency, he had the privilege of launching the 10-year National Anti-Corruption Plan, which is what I was mentioning to you, is on the front pages or you find a copy of on Shraj, right? And he's returned, and we'll see to the launch of the National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Plan for the next 10 years. I want to go on to the phone lines and speak to Adam Senan, who is a co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, on this one. Mr. Senan, I appreciate you joining us this morning. I trust that all is well with you.
Good morning, and yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Great. We're seeing the president announce to us that the National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Plan is set to go before Parliament and then to be approved subsequently. We've seen a 10-year National Anti-Corruption Plan in place, and we've seen the work that we've been able to do against corruption. What are your expectations of this new plan, which we understand is going to Parliament, even as we assess what has existed up until now?
Well, first of all, I would want to point out that this one is a 5-year plan, and it is part of the learning of the previous one, because the 10-year was a very long period. So the 5-year allows us a strategic frame for it to be reviewed. Let me also point out that I was extremely impressed with government's investments in getting this done thoroughly. It took almost a year, and I think we finished sometime last quarter last year. It involved all the anti-corruption agencies, the international stakeholders, civil society, and there were national, regional consultations involving citizens, where a thorough review of the previous 10-year plan was done, and then, we picked from that to build on this. My expectations are that government will make sure that we have a dedicated source of funding, because one of probably the key most challenge that faced the previous one was there was no dedicated source of funding. So simply put, stakeholders who had some money put it into various sections of that plan without us having any government dedicated funds that would therefore say the basic things were going to be done and achieved within the time frame. We need dedicated funding so we know that the key components of this plan will get executed. Let me also point out that the change from just a national anti-corruption to ethics and anti-corruption is because one of the key areas we identified where our society seems to be losing is direction, is the issue of ethics. Knowing what is right, doing what is right, and influencing others in your circle of influence to do what is right. And it appears that this is something that we need to reinculcate right from primary or even before primary. And that is also captured in the document. The issue of making sure that we have a stronger understanding of what is required as obligations of the citizen vis-a-vis also what your privileges are. That's also captured. And then there is a lot in this one looking at technology, because with the pace at which the world is going, if we don't understand what is going on in the digital world and have tools to deal with corruption and fraud there will be a lot of challenge in dealing with corruption. So these are some of the key things I'll be expecting that the rollout of the NIACAP will deliver to the people of this country.
Right. From what you tell us, it does suggest you've had a good glimpse of the new plan, or at least at the realm
I was part of the process.
Yes.
It was a long process, and there were many of us. I think everyone, all the key stakeholders were involved right from the beginning. I think they had a good plan. They got us all involved. We didn't even just do Accra. We went around all regions. And it's been waiting, I think, for assent from cabinet since the last quarter of last year.
So in terms of institutions which will be playing an active role in this, I'm looking at the 2016 to 2026 one, and it's on the Shraj website. It does appear Shraj was supposed to take up a huge chunk in terms of the work to be done. Is that the same in terms of this new plan, or with the emergence of other anti-corruption bodies like the Office of the Special Prosecutor, all of that has been embedded and they are supposed to play vital or some key roles in this new 5-year plan which is expected?
That's a brilliant question. Yes, indeed. With all the new things that have happened, the newer agencies have also been given key roles as per understanding of the laws that were generated. So, for example, with the OSP Act 959 and its specificity in terms of corruption-related issues, therefore means that you could not avoid making sure that you captured what the OSP would do. So we have categorized all the anti-corruption agencies, the roles they'll be playing, but critically also said that there had to be a clear legal framework in terms of an MOU that properly defines the dependencies and the synergies that they need to leverage between each other to give us a better result. So not just talking about it, but also pointing out that we ought to bring everybody to the table, make sure there's an MOU that clearly defines how they work together to reduce the kind of tensions that we see and therefore making sure that we get the outcomes that we desire.
Now, yesterday, when the news came that this new anti-corruption plan was expected to come up, the general sentiment, at least I picked up, was that the first one failed, or the 2016 to 2026 one has failed. Why do we need a new one? What is the justification when we have a national anti-corruption plan and yet graft continues to spiral upwards? What is the essence of this plan if we're not seeing it work? Is there a justification as to why we must have this new one?
Absolutely. It's a basic tenet that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So the fact that one plan did not work does not mean that the next plan would not work. It does not mean you should not plan at all. That is actually chaos. It's a disaster waiting to happen. It means you are intentionally making sure that you don't get any tangible results. So there is a need to plan. What you ought to do is therefore dissect the previous plan and see what were its weaknesses, which is what we did. And I'm quite sure some parts of media were involved. You should talk to people like Samson, Ladianyini, and whatnot. They were very central to the processes, even moderating some of the public engagement sessions. I think if you get the data, you'll find that citizens themselves were pointing out what the weaknesses were. The agencies themselves were highlighting what the issues were. And so a lot of the thinking through what did not work has been factored back in. What is necessary is, at least in my mind, two things: the dedicated funding, making sure that you have persons of integrity at the helms of pushing this, so that commitment eventually reflects. So there is always a need to have a plan, but your plans must be better than the previous plans if you are to get results.
Right, better so we get results. In terms of my final question, you mentioned we had been waiting since, is it the second quarter of last year for this? What will be the time frames to have this now be taken to Parliament, go through the necessary process so that that plan can be kicked into motion? Because it suggests that it had been in the pipeline for quite a while.
So let me be, like I said, we finished, I think, last quarter of last year. It probably got to cabinet first quarter of this year. And so we've been waiting. So probably at least the last 6 to 7 months. And obviously cabinet would have a long list of things. How long it will take when it gets to Parliament, I hope it wouldn't take too long, because this is 2026. It's a starting year, and we're already half of the year gone. So I pray that Parliament will find, and by the way, Parliament itself had representatives as part of the process. It was wide-ranging from NCCE to, you just mentioned it. So hopefully they've already seen the document. I hope that it wouldn't take more than a couple of months, 2 or 3, for them to dispense of it so that the rollout can begin.
Mr. Senanu, I appreciate you for speaking to us and providing a bit more insight as to what this new plan is. Right, that's Adam Senanu, who is the co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, speaking to us this morning and also helping us appreciate what is expected of this new anti-corruption plan. Says that it's a learning, right? It's a learning from the previous ones, the mistakes done, and seeking to, amongst many other things, ensure that
92.7.
we do not repeat the mistakes of old, and it's undergone extensive consultation, consideration. Work was done last quarter of last year, and now we're expecting it to go before Parliament. Parliament, who also had representation all throughout the entire process, and so the expectation is that this will be done expeditiously. The important aspect he adds is that dedicated funding. Right, we must be dedicated in terms of putting our money where our mouth is to fight graft and deal with it thoroughly is the last aspect he adds. Because if you look at the previous plan, it centered largely around the Commission of Human Rights and Administrative Justice, TRAJ. But now we understand that other agencies are going to be part and parcel in terms of the fight against grafts. Talk of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, who have become key, right, in terms of matters in relation to corruption and corruption-related fight. And so that is, as we have it, for you here in terms of a news review. We're going to go for this short one in terms of a break, and then when we return, the sports team will join us so we talk World Cup and other related matters for you here on the 3FM Sunrise. Against Croatia, the Croats, so tomorrow at 9 p.m. But they had special guests as well. But first, let's talk preparations, right? They moved to Philadelphia already?
Yes, they've arrived. The GFA provided an update that they have arrived, and they are expected to actually train later today, with Carlos Queiroz granting a press conference ahead of that game. So far we know that, the preparations are still ongoing.
There was a government delegation that visited them before that travel, though. It was an interesting delegation because he had Mr. Ibrahim Mahama being a part of the contingent, speaking to the team and all of that. You've been monitoring that. Exactly what has he been telling them as well?
Yeah, Ibrahim Mahama he expressed how happy he has been with the Black Stars' performances in the World Cup so far, beating Panama and then drawing 0-0 to England. But the key thing he mentioned is that he is going to give the team a special bonus. Yes, a special bonus. Bonus separate from what the government is meant to give the Black Stars if they perform well at the World Cup.
Coming to see this team, it just reminds me of Agogo and how they came up and how they made us proud. So listen, you guys, I'm going to follow your journey, and I'm going to also make sure that I invest in you, because not you alone, the technical team, you've done very well. And let's find many more Ghanaians who have untold stories to see how we can. But once again, with the coach, I'm very, very proud because you came in at a shorter time. You've been able to put the boys together, and you wonderful performance. And all of it. Apart from the government's bonus, I have a special bonus for you. Yeah.
For me, Fatah Daudas, Ibrahim, because there's money coming into the bank.
Chale, if you hear money, would you sing some? If you hear that
he was singing
that this rich man is promising you money, won't you sing some?
That day is coming into the account. Super excited.
Heavy block.
Because I mean, what's the Black Stars winning bonus?
3FM, I know that they are meant to be receiving $100,000.
No, that appearance fee. That's $100,000 is appearance.
The winning bonus
$10,000. As at the last time we checked, which was agreed, I don't think that's been reviewed upwards or downwards.
I'm not so sure.
But in excess of that is coming, and that has made them very, very excited.
Yes.
But the Foreign Affairs Minister was actually the one who led that delegation. He also had cause to speak to the team. What exactly did he say as well?
Yeah, he was specifically praising Coach Carlos Queiroz for what he's done with the team. Remember, Carlos Queiroz has only been around the team about a month or two, but he has gotten the team to get this close to qualifying to the round of 32 at the World Cup. And so Ablakwa said these nice things about Queiroz.
Thank you very much, my brother Kofi Adams. Let me also convey my deepest admiration for all of you, the gallant Black Stars who do all the hard work on the field, and of course the officials led by our famous Coach Carlos Queiroz, who I have great pride in, that he is the coach of the Black Stars. We couldn't have asked for any better coach, and we are very, very proud. I love the profound statement he made ahead of the match that if they are calling themselves 3 Lions, we have 33 million lions, and so we cannot be intimidated. And that is the psychological edge we have.
3FM 92.7.
No team, no matter how highly rated, can intimidate you or can cow you into submission. And we are all so proud. You have brought back the love, the patriotism, and the respect that we have always had for the Black Stars. And we have no doubt that you are going to make us proud, and you are going to go very, very far in this tournament. I want to bring you very warm greetings from His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, who, as you know, is your ardent fan. He interacted with you virtually. He sent the Vice President earlier when you were in Canada, and he has asked us to convey his respects, and he wishes that you know that he is rooting strongly for you. He's your number one fan, and he has a very special package for you when you return to Ghana after this tournament. You can trust President Mahama to deliver on his promise. So far, he has given you all that you need and all that is required. And we are very, very proud of what you have achieved on the field.
That's Foreign Affairs Minister Okudzeto Ablakwa. But there's a huge conversation as to if we've qualified already. I spoke to Nuhu Adams this morning, and he suggested we've made it through. But that suggestion might not be entirely true. Why is that?
Yeah, on a technical note, let me say probability that we've qualified is, should I say 85%?
Not 90.
Yeah, I'm putting at 85.
3FM 92.7.
The case here is there are some third-ranked place teams who are yet to play their third game. So I'm talking about these teams. Of course, we are facing Croatia. They are third-ranked at the moment. Algeria is one. There's Cape Verde, there's Belgium, there's DR Congo, there's Senegal. All of them haven't played their third matches yet. And if they win, it will have repercussions on how the third best placed teams looks like. And I've seen permutations on who Ghana can possibly face if they finish first, second, or third. If we finish first, which is actually good for us because we would face a third place team, but we would have to defeat Croatia and England have to lose, basically. And we would face a third place
or
team.
England have to draw. And for us to win.
For us to go as first place. We'll face a third place team in Group E, I, J, or K. If we finish second, right, that is if we draw against Croatia and then England draw or win, we'll face either Portugal, DR Congo, or Colombia, depending on how those games go. And then if we finish third, we'll face the winner of Group K, that is either Colombia or Portugal. Colombia and Portugal will be facing each other also on the day that we will be facing Croatia. So it's not fully decided yet. I believe that after today's games, which involves Senegal and maybe Cape Verde, that is when we can assure ourselves that we've actually qualified.
So which two games should we be looking? Because I honestly don't think what happens to Senegal affects us, because should we lose,
because they will gain 3 points.
Yes,
in the end.
3 points in the end, because they can't get points above us.
Yes,
Congo can.
Yes,
Congo can be on parity with us.
92.7.
Right, same as Cape Verde.
Cape Verde can actually get more points than us, because should they win, they go into 5.
They go into 5, yes.
Right?
Yes.
But Congo will likely get same points as us. What it will come down to is by how many goals we will lose by.
Yes.
If we lose by just a goal, then goal difference might worry us a bit, because they would have scored more goals. They drew 2-2 with Portugal in that first game, and then lost 1-0 to Colombia. Right? So that might be a bit tricky for us. But outside of that, and Congo will face which team? They are likely to face...
DRC will be facing, if I'm not mistaken, let me double check, Uzbekistan. That's
expected to be whipping boys.
Yeah, that's the game they should be winning.
Yes. So then that becomes slightly tricky for us, and so we'll have to watch the goal margins and all of that. But Senegal, I don't sleep and even worry about, because they can win by 10 goals to 0, and we'll also have more points than them.
Yeah. So if we are looking at the third place teams, we know Sweden, right? They have a goal difference of 0.
But they scored more goals. They scored 6.
They scored like 7, basically. They scored 7, conceded 7. So that's a goal difference of 0.
5-1.
Yeah, 5-1, 5-1, and then they drew as well. And then Ecuador also have a goal difference of 0. They scored 2, conceded 2. Bosnia have a goal difference of -1. I'm talking about teams on 4 points.
Yeah.
-1. They scored 5, conceded 6. Paraguay, right, also have a goal difference of -2. They scored 2, conceded 4. Right. So if you look at these 4 already, you say these 4 rank higher than Ghana if Ghana go and lose to Croatia, because Ghana have only scored 1 goal, right? And if we lose to Croatia, then the negative difference might be -2 or more. So already we know that part is clear, right? And now you'd have to wait for the others. If they also be winning their games, then we could be in trouble. So I feel the safest option is to draw and finish second. But that we might not need to do that if, say, Cape Verde, Senegal games do come about and we see what happens in those games. So, as I said, probability is 85%, but it's not fully done.
It is the probability of who you meet after coming second that is not inspiring a lot of confidence.
Yeah, it's either Portugal or Colombia or DRC, depending on what happens in their final games. Because Portugal will be facing Colombia. Colombia are top of the group with 6 points, right? And Portugal are second with 4 points. Colombia do have to defeat Portugal by a big margin, or DRC have to.
Colombia just needs a draw, actually.
Yeah, they just. But
they actually just need a draw.
But if they draw with Portugal, meaning Portugal will finish second.
Yeah,
and that means we'll probably be in trouble if we finish second. We are facing Portugal. You understand?
This thing is very confusing. This World Cup, because at first you were guaranteed if you finish second, you're coming up against the first place team in a group.
Yeah, now it all switched. I mean, it goes round and round because of other groups. So when other groups are decided, you get to see, it just reduces the probability of you facing this guy and this guy. So right now it's narrowed down to basically around the group K. The group that contains Colombia, Portugal, and then DRC.
We're in group L.
Yes.
3FM 92.7.
So you see group K, Colombia are first, 6 points. Portugal are second, 4 points. DRC are third, 1 point. Uzbekistan are fourth, 0 points. Don't count Uzbekistan because they will likely, unless DR Congo play that badly and Uzbekistan defeats them. But even if Uzbekistan defeats them, that plays for us because we already have 4 points when it comes to the third place.
So right now we should just make it to round of 32. That's all that matters.
Yes,
but
make it there.
Also the determination as to where you go and play the game is
yeah. So the thing is, if we finish second, it's one of Colombia, Portugal, DRC. If we finish third, it's one of Colombia, Portugal. So pick your poison, basically. Which one would you be more comfortable facing?
But a few of the permutations have come through as to what the knockout fixtures look like.
Yeah.
South Africa is facing Canada on the 28th.
Yeah.
That fixture has been quite determined already.
Yeah. There's also Brazil versus Japan.
Yeah.
Determined. Netherlands will be facing Morocco, also determined, and then USA will be facing Bosnia. That is also determined. So these are the 4 fixtures that are actually confirmed. I'm very keen on seeing that Netherlands-Morocco game.
It promises to be. I mean, you top your group and then you are facing Morocco. Can you imagine?
Charlie.
You top your group and you're facing Morocco. That could be interesting. Any games today though? Just as we run up on our conversations here.
Yes,
on the show.
So we have Senegal versus Iraq coming live on TV3 later today. The game starts at 7 p.m. Discussion will be starting at 6 p.m. Mutala will be the one to host that particular game.
3FM 92.7.
And also at the same time, Norway will be facing France. To see who tops that particular group because
both are on pretty much almost goal difference puts France ahead, right? Goal difference puts France ahead because Senegal equalize, at least got a goal back to make it 3-2. And France won by 3-0 against Iraq. But Senegal have been disappointing at this tournament. Very, very disappointing.
But I feel it's more off-field issues than on-field because I'm
hearing Papi Thiaw doesn't have a contract for the last 5 months. There's been bonus rows and disputes. I don't know why we do this to ourselves as a continent, you know.
Yeah, it sort of feels like 2014 all over again.
Black Stars, right? Utterly embarrassing. What is up? Because the sheer amount of talent on that team.
Yeah.
And even some of the choices the coach has made, it's not allowed them. And I think after that defeat against France, they just nosedived even further.
Yeah.
But anyways, we'll be on the lookout for that game a lot later today, and also as well, we'll be cheering on the senior national team, the Black Stars of Ghana, tomorrow at 9 p.m. For a bit more in terms of action in that regard. But Bill, thank you very much for coming through with sports for us here on the show.
Let's go.
to give him small chance. And my guess. Rights designation former government spokesperson, yes, not MPP but government spokesperson on governance and security, because it will suggest you used to be in the MPP, which is not the case.
Patriotic Party, the longest serving tradition.
I know Solomon will have something to say in relation to
tradition in Ghana that has survived every coup d'etat, either or yet to.
The Dankwa
Dombo Buzia tradition from 1947. UP tradition. The original UP tradition. Yes.
That is the part I didn't want you to get.
Not iPhone Plus. Not iPhone Plus.
Because when you say
not
UP,
iPhone Plus.
When you say UP,
the original UP tradition.
The UP we have now will tell you that they are the original.
No, they are not. They cannot be.
So he belongs
we are
to
the foundation.
You know, he finally settled on the UP. That's the beauty of it.
The Dankwa Dombo
They claim their tradition is UP, and we have registered the UP. So who is the UP? You see how beautiful it is? So we are the original owners. I believe that my brother will definitely come home.
No, so Solomon has the foundation of the new patriotic party.
I have the foundation of the UP.
Yes, the foundation of the new patriotic party.
The positive aspect of the UP.
The foundation of the new patriotic party.
And he will come to the UP.
No,
you see, finally
not
said
at all.
the UP. I'm the UP
tradition. But yours is UP plus. You are not part of it.
It's the UP.
It's the imitated part
of it. What I enjoy always is this part of the introduction. This part of the introduction always excites me because
the breakaway.
Yes.
The prodigal son.
The claim as to who is the original UP.
No, of course we are the original.
Always comes.
We are the custodians of that.
The name of his
they
party.
should tell us who their founder is.
The name of his party.
They should tell us who their founder is.
The name of his party is the New Patriotic Party.
But they should tell us who their founder is.
Our party is the United Party, which is the UP.
The United Gold Coast Convention. The United Gold Coast Convention,
all of
us,
and there was a UP,
and that at the time, this UP plus was not even.
No. But the point is that
we've gone through various reformations
when the MPP
through the Progress Party, through the Nothing People's Party.
It doesn't matter.
We are the biggest and the longest serving.
When the MPP was being formed and named, there was no constitutional provision or legal provision that barred the party from adopting the name the United Party or the UP. They did not. Meaning they have no confidence. The NPP have no confidence.
This is a party of generations.
Which one is that?
Brother. The new Patriotic Party is a party of generations. There is no history that you have.
This is
the party of generations.
This is just introduction.
This
is just introduction.
So it's a party of generations.
They must be interested in the NPP and we will be interested in our UP.
Our party is a party of I want to. If we ask you where your generation is coming from, you will trace it back to us.
No, we don't know you. You are like
this is just introduction. That's Solomon Owusu, is the director of communications for the United Party
Plus
as well, joining us. And Dr. Thomas Anamba is member of parliament for the Garu constituency, is just walking in as well and joining us in studio this morning. We're talking the NPP and matters arising in relation to the many things. Also conversations around the new utility tariffs, whether or not the stronger city should not be reflective in how much Ghanaians pay for tariffs. And we'll take brief thoughts on new drug threats on our campuses as well, and then quick thoughts as well on the Black Stars of Ghana. But we're going to start in relation to the opposition New Patriotic Party, because yesterday a National Executive Committee meeting was held, and before that could even finish, there were some supporters who massed up at the Alisa Hotel, and it descended into some level of chaos as well. Fisticuffs and what have you been thrown. That's not what we're interested in. The message there was that Ken must go. But after it was all said and done, the national organizer of the party spoke to Accra-based Joy News and revealed that petitions had come through from different quarters, including members of parliament asking for disciplinary action to be taken against Kennedy Japan. I'll have us listen to Henry Nana Boakye on that briefly, and then I'll come in studio and pick thoughts from my guests immediately.
Yes, we had petitions from some individuals, party people, and then also even some members of parliament. So constitutionally and procedurally, National Executive Committee and National Council referred the matter to the Discipline Committee, which is chaired by Honorable Mohata, former Roads Minister. And we have also given them timelines. We said 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, they must present their report to the National Executive Committee through the General Secretary. So we are waiting for their work. We have referred all the petitions to them. We have given them 2 weeks to report back to National Executive Committee and National Council.
I mean, I'm wondering, that means that for NEC and the National Council, you must find at least some level of merit to not throw it away and refer it to this merit committee, right?
I mean, once they are petitions, what is important is that you have to refer whatever the merits are. So refer the matter to the disciplinary committee. The most important thing is that the report from the disciplinary committee will be a subject matter for NEC and the National Council to consider.
3FM 92.7.
So, as it stands now, the position is that we have referred all petitions received regarding Honorable Kennedy Japan's comments to the National Discipline Committee, and we have given them 2 weeks because we wanted to really make sure that in 2 weeks we deal with this matter. So in 2 weeks, National Executive Committee will receive the report, and then we will again convene a meeting for us to discuss these matters.
How many petitions are we talking about, and from where?
I mentioned that some individuals, some party people, and then also some members of parliament as well. Yes.
But how many are we talking about? Do you know how many petitions?
No, not at all. We were just told that there have been some petitions, and from some party persons, and then also some members of parliament.
You're also voting on some level of elections next month. What was the discussion around it, and then also what are expectations of the particular elections?
Yes, we received.
The big conversation on 3FM Sunrise.
The top of the hour, let me bring in my guests into the conversation now. I'll start off with Solomon Owusu because there's been a conversation behind the scenes as to the order in which this conversation, particularly this one, should go. And so once there's consensus, I can proceed. Members of Parliament inclusive have petitioned the Council of, the Council of Elders, the National Executive Committee for disciplinary action to be taken against Kennedy Ohene Japan. I think last week we were speaking about this, but it looks like it's gone a notch higher. Not just MPs, but other members of the NPP are asking that some action be taken against him. And there was a protest outside
3FM
meeting as well.
92.7.
Your thought on all of this and whether or not the attempt to come together following that January 31 election is not being defeated by some of these things that we're seeing in the quarters of the NPP.
Thank you very much, and good morning to you and my co-panelists and your cherished listeners and those watching us on various social media platforms. You see, we saw this long ago, where the New Patriotic Party is. We saw it long ago. And it was the reason why Mr. Alan Tremartin, in days leading to the 2024 election, said the NPP was a declining party, a party that lacked leadership, and that is what is happening. When I saw what happened yesterday at Alisa, I said to myself, are those that are leading, do they even understand the issues that they are dealing with? Eric, what are we talking about? We have been told that Kennedy has made a certain statement. Is that not the case? Which was played last week here. We all listened with rapt attention. Can anybody, in sincerity, in honesty, point to any defect in that statement? Can anybody point to any paragraph in that statement that suggests that Kennedy was dragging the name of the MPP into mud, into disrepute, was all representing the New Patriotic Party in good stead. I have listened to the statement more than 30 occasions.
Not many times.
30 times. And I'm not exaggerating, just to find where the problem is. But I found none. But it reminds me of the history of the party itself. And I believe that the earlier the party really they want to be seen as a third force, because we are gradually warming ourselves into becoming a second force, the earlier they dispel some of the past notions, call some of their past leaders into order to reform the party, the better. What is happening to Kennedy Japan has its roots. Has a root in the bogus letter that was written by B.J. Darocha when it came to Alan Chemantin. And the young ones have taken it hook, line, and sinker. So anytime they want to take an action against a party functionary, they refer to that letter. And with your permission, I'll read a portion of that letter. You know, in 2007, after the Legon MVP primaries,
that rancor,
yes,
and
Alan said he was leaving the party on condition that his men would no more be attacked. So he wrote a letter to the National Executive Committee. That was supposed to be a confidential letter. That, look, we went into an election. I did not even lose the election. The election was supposed to go on a runoff. But I saw that where the party was, if he had done the runoff had taken place, the party would have collapsed. Because it was going to be an entrenched positions. I saw the age of Nana Akufo-Addo. I saw my age. I realized that, look, why don't we allow, even in our Ghana cultural setting, sometimes you allow the elderly to take up the mantle. So let him go. But beyond that, Alan's supporters were seen as aliens in the party. They were being attacked. One Nana Kwame lost his eye because of that. So he said, if because of me, by taking part in an election, my people will suffer like that, then what's the point in being in the party? Let me leave the party for them so that my men will be free. And this position has always been re-echoed or taken by people that call themselves leaders. That if it is because of me, let me sacrifice and let people be free. Now listen to the response of B.J. Darocha, and I'll link it to why this is happening to Kennedy Japan, and why the New Patriotic Party, if they want to be taken seriously in this country, they must rethink their position. This is the salient point of B.J. Darocha's letter. Telly, and this is the concluding part. Telly, the concluding part of Mr. Alan Chemantin's statement is pregnant with meaning. I quote it, and he was quoting Mr. Alan Chemantin here. We must also not lose sight, and this is Mr. Alan Chemantin speaking in his letter that he wrote to the NEC. We must also not lose sight of the fact that national interest is superior to the interest of any single party. This is Mr. Alan Chemantin. In this regard, I will soon give a firm indication about the role that I expect to play on the political landscape in the country. This, I believe, will bring hope and confidence to all Ghanaians, irrespective of the political or religious affiliation or ethnic background. The clear, and this is Mr. B.J. Darocha interpreting this statement from Alan Chemantin. And listen, I want people to understand where the history of this party is coming from, and those that have done the greatest deal of the service to the party, for which reason young ones, and I see their communicators on various social media platforms, rather lifting what I'm reading and posting and being the reason why Alan should have been sacked long ago. And this is B.J. Darocha. The clear import of this passage is that he, Mr. Alan Chemantin, has in mind a national interest superior to the interest of the MPP. Wow. This is B.J. Darocha. That they have been celebrating all these years. That Mr. Alan Chemantin has a national interest against a party's interest. And to the mind of B.J. Darocha, the interest of the MPP must always and at all material times be superior to the national interest. Is it a political party that I want to join? Now listen, let me continue. It is also an unequivocal declaration that he has sought for himself a future role in politics outside the MPP. It is obvious that he has no deep-rooted commitment or loyalty to the MPP. In the light of the latest statement, it is my considered view that it will not be in the best interest of the MPP to receive Mr. Lanchimante back into the party's fold. He will become a disruptive factor in the party, stumbling block, a loose cannon. The party has an election to win. We should direct all our efforts to the task ahead. So, and he's somebody that is revered in the circles of the MPP. So when you have a leading figure, a towering figure like B.J. Darocha, that has conscientized the minds of the people of the party that in any 50-50 situation, if it is a national interest versus the party interest, you as a Ghanaian first, we were Ghanaians before the MPP, NDC, CPP, anything came, must choose what would benefit your party rather than the national interest. For which reason, he was calling on Alan Chamati to be sacked from the party. What are we discussing with Kennedy Japan? Kennedy Japan made a statement regarding the Afari incident. Is that not the case?
Yes.
And I said, I have listened to the tape 30 times. And I'm not exaggerating. Now, what was the import of the statement? All he said was that the Afari situation, you cannot just blame the NDC, a 15-month-old government, for not having completed it. And that the MPP too must take a fair share in the blame. When he said that, he said someone was trying to give him an eye that he should stop about the MPP. That did provoke me and said that, you see, when I said MPP, you are eyeing me. You must speak the truth and that it is Ghana first and we are not doing politics. These are the words of Kennedy Japan. That we are not doing politics. And indeed, we cannot be doing politics with our health infrastructure, with our education and everything. And what he stated, was he stating a fact or he was just lying?
Is it not the subsequent statement on Net2 TV where he said that he will release files which will spill the beans essentially?
No, but the point is
which is becoming the basis for these.
So that's why I'm laying the foundation. So after this statement, a nationalistic statement, taking a national position on the matter, then they released some of the social media antics of the party. They took him to the cleanest. Look, I have never seen insult like that. But sometimes I wonder whether people understand whether insult do anything. If I come and sit here and insult me, I laugh over it too. To the extent that my own younger sister Mavis, Polika Mavis, even said that he might have lost memory. So I say, hey, then I have to come back again. Now look, you people, is that how you want to go? So he also flared up. What I'm trying to say is that you are a party that is already disjointed. There is no cohesion. They may be lying to themselves when they come to the public.
Right.
As we speak, if you were to go to Bantima constituency, there is fire on the mountain. The constituency chairman Fifi, MP Asanso, and other executives, they are fighting, and it's all over social media. And they are not ashamed of that. They come openly and say that this one wants to tamper with the album. I'm not going to allow that. I also want to tamper. This is what is happening. You go to Nkoko constituency, people are fighting among themselves. Instead of you being so tactful and then know your difficulty and see how best you would resolve the issues. I know your time is getting good, but in concluding, you know, they extended it to yesterday to Afenyo. You are talking about Kennedy Japan. But the guys were rushing to Afenyo's car. Because in your mind, what took place in the election on the 31st of January 2026, where the votes from Afenyo's constituency was that huge for Kennedy Japan. They see him through Kennedy Japan. And that, mark my word and cut today's date, that when they succeed in getting Kennedy out, the next person that will be forced out of the party will be Afenyo Martins.
That's a bold claim.
I'm telling you.
That's a bold claim. But I'll come back to you and then I'll get Power Group. But if the consensus is anything to go by, Doc, you're next on the bill for me. Solo is making a very bold claim that if they succeed in forcing Ken out, then Apenyo will be next. So what have you made of the largest opposition stance on national matters and a key member making open comment on national matters and it resulting in petitions for his removal completely from the party?
Good morning to you and good morning to your cherished listeners and viewers and my colleague panelists here with me. I really, when I saw what happened yesterday,
3FM,
so many questions came to my mind. And I would like to start by appealing to the members of NPP. We'll be beating them in any way. But I would like to have a formidable opposition. I don't want us to have opposition in tatters. That's why I think that Solo's party would maybe come up to put up some challenge to us a little. We don't want to be the only party in Ghana. We want a good opposition party. You see, I don't know why when you analyze what happened to Alan Chamantin and what is happening to Kennedy Ajapong, it appears that anytime we are going into a serious elections, MPP tries to do away with a major political figure. They did away with Alan Chamantin, who is not a small figure in MPP. What is going on is like working to do away with another main figure. And knowing very well that this man is not just a street boy. Yeah. He has been a main financier, a mover and a shaker of the party. He came and made a comment. What was his comment? He made a factual statement which has evidence that the two political parties are to be blamed, not only NDC. That means that he's also blaming his party. And from what you are seeing, he appears to be appearing more nationalistic than being partisan. But let me ask this question. Why is NPP, bloggers and everybody fighting for Abroye?
3FM.
Is it not freedom of speech?
2.7.
I don't know fighting for freedom of speech.
Yes.
What Kennedy did? What is it? Is it not freedom of speech? And factual statements? You say, we are in this country fighting that, we fought against the criminal libel law, blah, blah, blah. Kennedy is a Ghanaian who wants a hospital for the people of Kumasi. We had a running mate who is a doctor in Kumasi, and Afare Hospital was standing there 90% incomplete. The money meant for that building was there. You didn't complete it. Then you leave power. 8 years, you move the thing from 50-something% to 90-something%, and you left it. And you went and spent millions to start Agenda 111 scattered everywhere. When one of that hospital alone could take 5 of Agenda 111. Meanwhile, you had a vice president, a doctor from Ashanti. But you couldn't complete it. Kennedy comes to say, look, we caused it, not only NDC. At least, NDC came and cut the salt in 2014 for them to start left power after 2016. And you took over from 2017 up to 2024. What did you do? Why didn't you complete it? If you really love the people there, why didn't you complete it? He made a factual statement. We are both to be blamed. Then you say, no, the way you have spoken, you've spoken too much, it's against party laws. Which party is above the national interest? Which party interest should be above a national interest? That's why I'm saying that these are the very people who are crying for freedom of speech. But when a member in their party makes a statement which is nationalistic, they say they should go away with him. But what I feel sad is the people who are always behind this noise, cameras and the rest. Look at those young boys who were there campaigning, Kennedy must go. Look at them. Kennedy can employ all these people. Feed them. These people, you can just see that they don't even understand what they are doing. And this is how our politics is going. We get the young boys who are virtually doing nothing. You just gather them, give them a banner, and they come and they are making noise. Some of them even didn't have a good trousers to wear. And they are saying Ken must go. Ken sponsored this party's congress. You know what it means? Ken bought pickups for people to campaign and win elections. Do you know what it means? And you just come and say this person must go. Do you think he doesn't have people? He doesn't have he's not a human being that can react. Definitely, if you send all these truants against him, I bet you the freedom of speech would open, and the party would have serious problems. What I'm hearing here surprised me that some of my colleague MPs have also petitioned that they should do away with Ken. Why are they in parliament sometimes arguing with us, talking openly, and then it's what Kennedy did. It's like he's still in parliament. He's talking for the national interest, and our presence in parliament is to speak for national interest. Did he say anything against MPP? He said it against NDC and MPP. So why are you picking him because it is against, part of it is against your party? Why are you not petitioning NDC to come out and demonstrate against him? Why are they not petitioning NDC to come and demonstrate against Kennedy Agyapong? But they are petitioning their party to do away with him because he made a statement that they think it is not good for their party. You see, the party NPP, I think they have not learned from the defeat that they got in 2024. If they have learned from the defeat,
3FM.
because of the way they run the country down, because of the way they handle the governance system in this country, they would have been sober and reflect very well and sit with Kennedy Agyapong to see how they can come together united. After all, their leading member, their flag bearer, has apologized to Ghanaians. Why won't they summon him? Yeah. Why don't they summon Bawumia for apologizing to Ghanaians for the wrongs they did? But they have singled out Kennedy Agyapong. It means, look, they have a tactics that when you are heading the party, you eliminate a rule. Let's eliminate Kennedy. Let's eliminate Alan Chamanti and run the country. Let's eliminate Kennedy Agyapong and run this is the same thing. Because the whole Bawumia himself opened his mouth and said, Mumfan Cheye. Is that the tweet he said?
Yeah.
Yes.
And even beyond that, one of the most dangerous statements that any flag bearer could make was that whilst you were in cabinet and took part in the decision on e-levy, Bawumia came back and told us that he wasn't bad, and that it was a bad decision of the administration.
I was coming there.
Throwing Nana Kufuor under the bus. I mean, how do you do that? And he has not been called before the disciplinary committee.
No, not only that. Many of the things that were bad during the campaign, Bawumia disassociated himself from them. And said, for this one, I didn't handle this. I handled this. So he put the party into disrepute. But they never saw anything wrong with what Bawumia. So if the whole flag bearer of a party can come and say, we treated Ghanaians badly, Mumfan Cheye, you did nothing to him. If Kennedy come and say the Afari Hospital, which is part of the Yemfan Cheye, there is no need for you to go and petition that you should be removed. He's speaking nationalistically. So to me, I want to have a formidable opposition party. Right. Then we beat them squarely, and they know we're beating a party.
You have us to contend with. Don't worry.
You see, we don't want a scattered party that when we beat them, they say, even whether we campaign or not, we win. No, we want to campaign. So I beg NPP, have a formidable party for us to crash you.
Right, that's Dr. Thomas Anaba. I'll come to Dr. Palgrave now. He was a spokesperson for Kennedy Agyapong. He actually threw his support. He was a member of the team which supported Ken in the lead up to that January 31 presidential primary. Doc, the petition I'm seeing, is it for his removal from the party? Is it disciplinary action? And what do you make of these petitions as well, in the face of what is nationalistic speech, as has been suggested by the panel this morning?
Eric, a very good morning to you, and good morning to my colleagues, and good morning to the viewing public. I'm certain that right in this room there's been consensus, which means that consensus building is what is important for every endeavor. Let me first condemn the actions that happened yesterday, outside the premises of the meeting. It's NPP and is unpatriotic. No one who serves and sacrifices for the party goes down in the manner in which outside of the perimeters of the meeting happened. And so that's an unfortunate act. It shouldn't have happened. Number two, my brother Solomon raises Dan Roche's issue and letter and seeks to cascade him down. But I hold a contrary opinion. And the opinion is that from 2007 till the time when Alan Chamantin made his decision, it appears as though Dan Roche has been vindicated from the verdict of the letter. But I also hold an opinion that people that sacrifice for the party, people that live their lives for the party, must be held in high esteem. Heroes don't go down, and heroines don't go down. The Honorable Kennedy Japon is a pillar of the New Patriotic Party. I would have wished that Alan Chamantin had not left the party. And I don't think that it is my desire and wish for Honorable Kennedy Japon to leave the party. He's a financier of the party. He supported the party from the very inception of it during the Dankwa Dombo Buzia tradition. Supported John Ajekun Kufuor during his presidency. Supported Nanado Dankwa Kufuor during his presidency. A 6th-term member of parliament. Sat on very critical committees in parliament. Clearly, this is one that you cannot easily disregard. I pray that the NPP is a party of rule of law and structures. From the statement that the national organizer put out yesterday, that persons have sent petitions and it's in their right to do that because we are rule of law and a party of rule of law. When petitions are received, it's supposed to be sent to a committee within the party, and that committee is the disciplinary committee to look at the merits of the petition and then come to advise the National Executive Committee on what steps to take. Because the future of the party is important to me, personally as an individual, and also because the future of the party is important to every sympathizer of the New Patriotic Party, which is the second biggest opposition in this country, which has held governance in halves of this country. 16 years.
Are you the biggest opposition or second biggest?
No, they are we are beating them. Okay. Yeah. We are the second largest opposition in the country now.
The New Patriotic Party still holds very high credence in this country. And I pray that when matters are looked into, we find an amicable way of resolving it. I have sat down to do an observation of grassroots politics.
Right.
And Kennedy holds a sizable part of the grassroots of this country from both sides of the arm. Both people in NDC and NPP love him because of his philanthropic acts and gestures that he puts out.
I think the polls by Musa Dankwa in terms of support base across both parties backs to an extent what it is that you're saying.
And so Kennedy Ejapon is not an individual that you can easily disregard or want to bring a negative action to. It has adverse consequences on our own political party and growth. Unless, of course, he voluntarily says that he wants to withdraw from the New Patriotic Party. Until that, I would plead with caution. Because I think that the Honorable Alan Chamantin resigned from the party officially. And so he made that decision. The party did not dismiss Alan Chamantin. So we must be able to put that on record as well. But as a party of the future, because we have enjoyed this duopoly over the years, we must continue to enjoy it because it is what brings a lot more stability
you want
in
to
our
enjoy
democracy. Okay, it is what brings stability in our democracy. And Ghana is the safest democracy in the sub-region of West Africa. And so, for a political party that has just left the realms of governance, we would want that as we prepare to take over the realms of governance in 2028, after we have won the election with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as the president-elect, we would want a party that is strong and a party that is united.
A number of these individuals, Abronya, for instance, was asked to appear before the disciplinary committee and rubbished them. He said he wasn't going to appear before them.
So you see, for me, okay, we want to solve issues. And that's why I wanted Solomon and Doc to speak.
Right.
Okay, so that we can bring all of it together and solve our issue. We are a family, and one big family as such. Okay, I look forward to the day where, in the growing ages of Alan Kojo Chemantin, he will write a letter and say that the UP Plus party should go back to the New Patriotic Party.
When we are forming the government, we are going to bring our party back to the
they have very minimal representations across the country, and we know we know how a political party looks like.
It's not true.
This is not one,
right?
And so we'll not go there. But all I'm saying is that, of course, we don't want to continue our politics of insult, either in NDC or in MPP. It doesn't build the Ghanaism of the values that we need. And that, for me, is important, because politics of insult must be eschewed. That's why I said people benefit from it, because they feel that if you insult, then you're allowed. If you insult, then we can give you positions. So people who are ordinarily even not trained to insult will learn to insult, because they feel that when they insult, they come to the front burner of it. But all of us collectively must begin to agree. Of course, we went for an election. There was a peace pact that was signed by the New Patriotic Party, by all flag bearer hopefuls, which stated that after the election is run free and fair, the party comes together with no camps. As we speak today, we must have the NPP camp forged together to be able to prepare to win an election. So my caution is that, of course, the disciplinary committee will look at the petitions, the merit of it, because it's procedural, which is what the party must do.
So at this stage, Ken doesn't have to make an appearance?
No, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a member of the disciplinary committee. But if the disciplinary committee looks at the merits of the petitions and want to invite him, I mean, they can.
Would you advise him to attend upon that meeting when an invitation comes? I'm going to pick thoughts from the rest
is a member of the New Patriotic Party.
When others have not, in previous times when they were asked, Abronya and the likes.
You see, we are individual people, and we must make our decisions on our individuality, not on subjective decisions on other people. Okay, I'll give you an example. You recall there was a stage when our party boycotted TV3. Okay, now it was a party collective decision that was made. Okay, but you recall that some of us are experts in certain areas of national interest.
And we're speaking to us.
And so on those occasions where there were security matters, as an observer and as a citizen of the country, I mean, of course, I wear different caps. Okay, so I would state that when such an invitation comes, he's a member of the party, and a strong one as such. You see, there are 5 people at the top as I speak to you now. Okay, and I'll name them on equal levels. Okay, President John Ajikun Kufuor is a key member of the party. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is a key member of the party. Kennedy Japan is a key member of the party. And of course, maybe I should have mentioned Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as flag bearer, okay, of the party. So President John Ajikun Kufuor, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, our flag bearer Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Kennedy Japan. These are strong members of the party. And of course, I'll add my Chairman Wontumi, because grassroots is important. Mobilization is key. Okay, so there are people that pull crowd, and you know that you cannot discount them or disregard them. So I will plead, okay, even with the teaming supporters, and of course I condemn every other person that has rained insults, okay, from Mavis and all of those other young people that have rained insults. Those are not what the MPP stands for. The MPP stands for strong values, And so if you're a strong member of the New Patriotic Party and you understand the values of the New Patriotic Party, you will not exchange insults to a founding member of the party. Okay, that is why I'm sad that Alan Tremantin resigned from the party. Okay, and I look forward to the day. I mean, I'm sure that it's going to be my happiest day where I see Solomon come back to the New Patriotic Party.
We are gone long.
Do you understand? No. We must always leave room for people to come back. There are people that have left other political parties that has not served them well. I mean, he is here as a member of the NDC. He's aware of what happened to the late Nana Kunedu Ajamai Rawlings. She formed her own party. You know, you are aware of what happened to the former Foreign Affairs Minister, Obed Asamoah. Okay, he's in his 90s now. Okay, you are aware what happened to Gusitano. Okay, he's now leading the 24-hour economy. He's now leading the 24-hour economy. So clearly, you have seen that there are opportunities really for people to come back. So I want to use this platform and this morning to really appeal, even to Solomon and Alan Tremantin, that there are opportunities for you to come back. We become a stronger party to be able to recapture power, to be able to govern this party and this country, because every single Ghanaian is aware that it is this tradition that has the interest of Ghanaians at heart.
I just demonstrated to that. If you went into the MPP, BG Darocha remains a figure. His view that always puts party interests ahead of national interests. So they don't have the country at the reason why. But I just read his speech. You understand? It's the reason why some of us believe that. You see, where we have gotten to in our lives is about Ghana. Now we have done the over partisanship for far too long. If Ghana does not develop, all these political parties in there will not get anywhere. Because you assure people that you are coming to improve their lives. If the national economy does not improve, then where would your party get you? Now, to even make matters worse, recently, are you a free? And I thought that statement should have called for disciplinary action. Are you a free? Granted an interview. A leading figure in the Baumia campaign.
He said he lied and said Ken lied.
No, they're different from that. He was saying that, the upcoming elections, internal elections, boldly said that from the regional executives to the national executives, they will go heaven and earth to make sure that only Baumia loyalists wins the election. I mean, is it a position that truly represents the true ideals and principles of the party? And if you are saying that Ken is being petitioned because he did not represent the party in good stead before the public, then what about this statement? Coupled with the statement that will be made by the flag bearer himself, disassociating himself from the very decisions that he was part. Remember during COVID, President Akufo-Addo came to tell us that in his darkest moments, the only person that he discussed issues with was Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. So if somebody has so much confidence in you, so much trust in you, took all the diabolic decisions, including digging of hole at Ridge, and then you get the opportunity to lead, having first of all come back to us to apologize for all the things that you did not need to distance yourself from it. It doesn't show a mark of a good leader. You understand? You say you weren't part of it. It's a fewer. They were increasing anything anyhow. To the extent that you told us that he did not even know that fuel prices had been increased some few days into elections. When he knows very well that there is a standing formula that is applied. So such a person, if you come to do that and he is not hauled before the disciplinary committee, then who was? And by the way, this petition that has been said, do you believe in your heart of heart that those young men that sent the petition, they are not being pushed by some bigger hand somewhere? This is politics.
We are told there are members of parliament as well involved.
Have you gotten the members of parliament? No. I can tell you that.
There were no details at least.
Yes, from I know at least that young man called Charles Opoku, that they call him Presido. What gravitas does he have in this party too? And he's granting interviews all over the place. If he's a co-equal to Kennedy Japan, because he has a hand that is backing him. But what we are saying is that it serves Kennedy right. I'm telling you. You see, Kama have said that those days Kama was long in acting. But of late it's too fast. Kama fast is in town. Everything is fast. Because when it was so evidently clear that the party needed a new direction to depart from President Akufo-Addo's regime, he together with Afenyo, they were supporting Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia against Alan Chamartin. That was in 2024.
So his failure not to have supported Alan Chamartin.
No, I'm coming there because they were playing some games. The politics is a very complex game. In their mind, the obvious choice that could have led the party into a resounding victory was Alan Chamartin. Now, what do we do to push him out so that they would then come and take over the stage? It was not as though they were helping Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia just to get Alan off the stage and they will come. You understand? Now the same playbook that Nana Akufo-Addo, you remember Paul Afoko, Kwabena Agyapong and co were sacked when Nana Akufo-Addo in 2014 thereof, before he won the elections. So the same playbook, they also came, try and frustrate those that you think that they will be detrimental to you. So they frustrated Alan and his people, and when they used some of these personalities like Kennedy Agyapong. So when Alan left the stage, they thought they could fill in the shoes. And then again, they got people that were closer to Kennedy Agyapong to use the same template to get him off the radar in the last primaries. Right. And that is what is not helping him. So he feels that, look, have I been used? Then I will go after those that are saying that. Now, even in going after them, he is just speaking the truth.
All right.
Stating the obvious, yet the party has a huge problem with it. It serves them right. They must learn something out of it. That politics, they say politics is a mafia game. I don't believe in that. It must be a decent game. It is for nation building. Let honesty dictate whatever we do in our politics.
Doc, you have the final word, and then perhaps if Paulo wants to respond, I'll give him that. Then I go for a quick break.
In relation, the New Patriotic Party to rethink their position, and then the committee that has been set to look deeply into the consequences.
I was going to ask if you think he's to make an appearance before the committee.
Be careful with trying to call people like Kennedy Agyapong to a disciplinary committee meeting. Who are those who are going to constitute that to call him? If you look at the towers of the NPP currently, I think he himself mentioned it, and I agree with him, that he's among the top 10 in the country. And you can imagine those who are going to consider, is it the top 10 who are going to invite him or another group of people? I respect the rule of law, that a committee is a committee set up by the party. But you see, it would look like you are coming now to give justification to a statement that you have made, which is nationalistic, and everybody has seen it to be a good statement. What is there in it for you to call him? I think the committee should be very careful and do not worsen the matter and make Kennedy Agyapong feel belittled, and he may take a decision that may not be favorable for the party, just like Alan Chamartin, and their numbers will keep dwindling. And at the end, UP Plus may even really come and pass them.
Maybe we are taking over. UP is taking over. No, maybe.
Should the flag bearer of the party be stepping in? And perhaps that'll be the one last one I do round, because of the point that has been made as to his stature. The persons at the committee level who possibly is a former roads and highways minister, who's the chair of the committee, and all of that. Should we be seeing the flag bearer or other members in the person of former President
Akufo-Addo himself,
Akufo-Addo, stepping in to calm the waters in terms of what is happening within the party? I'll just be quick.
They are lucky. They have, let's say, they have three prominent people who can call people to order. The two former presidents, and then Bawumia himself. If Bawumia wants peace, go and liaise with the former presidents at the background. Like, you remember during the youth elections of NDC, our national youth elections, there was some problems. Yes. What did JM do? He called them, sat them down. Problem ended. Was the flag bearer. This is what leadership is. I think there's a problem of leadership in the party. If not, this thing wouldn't go this way. The moment people start attacking, one leader will come out and call people, hey, please halt it, or else where we are going is dangerous. I've already said it. For every major election, they lose a prominent person. And that shouldn't be happening.
Right.
That shouldn't be happening. So to me, there's no need they're calling for any disciplinary action. To me, if they want to worsen it, they can call him.
Pagov, quickly on that, whether or not we should be seeing.
I think that The party has long-standing committees,
Right.
just like the NDC have committees. And once you're a member of the party, any committee can call you for a conversation. I mean, the fact that you are being called to a committee does not convict you of any crime. And so I would say that whether or not he's called, as a member of the party, he can attend to the meeting. I'm aware that there are private conversations and background conversations that are ongoing from the Council of Elders to engage the Honorable Kennedy Japan, and obviously from the two former presidents and the flag bearer as well to engage. You recall that the flag bearer had
visited him.
I'm aware that there are ongoing conversations, but I mean, for me, I think that we need to be able to smoke the peace pipe. I mean, at the back of this as well is the formation of a new political party that is calling on Honorable Kennedy Japan to become their candidate, which is the base. Okay, because we've had conversations of that as well. So we need to win the tug of war.
Right. So look,
but to say that the flag bearer has to call Kennedy Japan is to suggest that he may not have anything to do with what is happening. I have some strong suspicion that he will be involved in what is happening.
He went to meet him.
It's suspicion.
So he went.
Don't take
the flag bearer went to meet him.
No, but let me do the analysis. Let me do the analysis. When I'm done, so let me do my analysis. When I'm done, you would come to a conclusion that indeed he may have something to do with it. Now, let me start from.
I mean, he's going to say. No, I'll hear you.
You don't allow me to make my point.
You make your point, but the flag bearer has nothing.
So you have made your point that he has nothing to do with it. Yes. At the end of the day, when the issue of Sam Rabwe came, you remember President Akufo-Addo, without any committee, cleared the issue. What is in court now? Is the person not being tried on the same matter? So sometimes you must give time some time. What I'm saying is that recently at Kennedy granted an interview and told us that he met Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia one-on-one. Is that the case? And that one of the key issues that he raised with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was the fact that why is he not distancing himself from the commentaries of Abronya and all those that have been insulting? It was the response from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia that got him thinking, no, the NPP is not ready for power. That he openly declared, the man did not say anything. In fact, he didn't care about it.
That's not true.
But how? Were you there?
I mean, the interview from.
That's not true.
No, were you there? Kennedy. Were you at the meeting?
Hold on.
No. What is not true?
Hold on.
What is not true?
That's not true.
Which one is not true?
I am aware.
No, first of all, identify which one is not true.
Hold on.
I am making my statement.
I know.
But which one is not true? So tell me which one is not true. Then we proceed.
So yes.
I'll you give me the time.
Yes, I'll give it.
Fantastic.
To suggest that individual politicians' actions are encouraged by other individuals is to state that people don't have their own opinion.
No, but that's all. So which one is not true? That means he has to stop because he has not identified anything that's not true.
I am aware.
Yeah.
On many instances where the flag bearer has called Abronya to order, on many occasions, I am aware of that.
He called him to order and see he was doing it. That's even serious statement.
Disrespect.
What are you talking about? That you are denigrating your leader. That he called him to order and still went ahead to be doing the same thing. Don't go that direction.
I am aware of
that he's called him on several occasions.
And he's still doing what he's doing.
I am aware of several occasions like that.
Well, because
and so you see, let's not tie in individuals' actions.
You see, the challenge is that I'm aware of that at a Kennedy interview. In fact,
yes. What did he say? I am quoting somebody.
But your introduction of the knowledge of the flag bearer calling Abronya as well in relation to this matter also brings fresh perspective as to all of it. So that is fair.
But can I continue? Let me proceed.
But you cannot say it even
makes the matter worse.
I'm just trying to say
it makes the matter worse. And I don't want to put a premium on what he just introduced into the discussion. He tried to, as it were, weather the storm, but in so doing, he has rather brought the name of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia into this dispute. That you called Abronya to order, Yet he flouted all those advice and decided to do anything anyhow. Now, that is so encouraging. Number 2, political mavis that we are talking about. When she started doing all this insult business, she received a hug from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. What was it communicating to others? You remember Fanti Comedy and Co. When they went insulting spree and wishing that a certain president died, afterwards, what did they receive? A hug from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So when you do all these things, perception is everything. And remember his recent statement that he issued that party supporters were being attacked. What did he call on the party members to do? He said they must continue to do what they are doing. And that he was fully in support of them. What were the party members doing that was attracting some of these unwarranted arrests, insults here and there? So when you are a flag bearer, you are doing that. And I'm to just oppose what is happening to Kennedy about what his own actions and inactions in the past are. I can firmly conclude that he cannot take himself out of what is happening.
Right.
And I would be naive to come and sit here as a politician and say that, look, what is happening in isolation. It is not true. The flag bearer is fully aware. Either than that, those boys, the Chasopoku that you think he just got up and wrote the petition, he would have had discussions on the matter. And which of the elders that we are not talking about? Look, President Kufuor, they don't take you for anything in the past.
That's not true.
It's not true.
That's not
Look,
true.
President Kufuor.
We honor President.
They don't honor him. When they want to use him as a ceremonial person, they don't.
That's all. I don't think that's true.
That's not true.
The Reverend.
But President Kufuor himself came to tell you. No. You see, they don't.
We reverence him.
You of all people that you are forgetting about this. You remember latter part of last year, President Kufuor came out and said that when they are doing anything, they don't consult him. How can you revere someone? How can you?
Wasn't that in specific context to a subject matter?
But what else do you need?
Because I remember the instance you are talking about.
Absolutely. So what else do you need? You don't need any argument. That the man himself that you are saying, the man that you are saying that they revere him, he has come out to say that when they are doing anything, they don't consult me.
Right.
Don't stretch.
I'll go for this break. When we return,
I can understand the difficulty.
We'll talk utility tariffs.
I see.
And some other matters, drugs on campus, and then I'll pick predictions ahead of our all-important game against Croatia tomorrow at 9 p.m. This is the 3FM Sunrise. Stay with us. We're back after these. 9:03, you're still here with us on the 3FM Sunrise. My guest in studio, Dr. Thomas Anaba. He's the Member of Parliament for the Garu constituency. Dr. Palgrave Boache Dankwa is a former government spokesperson on governance and security, and also with the Chairman Wontumi team in the bid for Chairman, right? Spokesperson for Chairman Wontumi. So is Solomon Owusu, is the Director of Communications of the United Party. We're talking tariffs and cost of living next, because PURC announced a 3.49% increase in tariffs, 0.85% for water. It's got a number of people asking the questions. We have a stronger city. Shouldn't we be benefiting from the effects of economic recovery as compared to the increase in utility tariffs that we're seeing? I see Doc is standing to Doc and looking at him.
They should start
as
3FM 92.7.
I'll start with Doc. I'll go to Sulu and then I'll come to you. 5 minutes on this one quickly for me. Doc, you have the first one.
We are a struggling country. We are a struggling country. You know, the NDC is stretching the economy. Okay.
Stretching. When you say stretching, okay, maybe perhaps you are going to explain what stretching
is.
He's
stretching the economy. Okay, and very soon the center cannot hold. Of course, the government has exited the IMF program, which would have happened even if we had won the election, would have exited anyway, because we had put in all the mechanisms in place already.
They said you are derailed in the economic recovery plan.
We had put in.
And the targets which were set for 2024 were missed. This is on record. So it's not me making the assertions.
I know, but we would have exited the IMF program if we were in government. What I see the government do is minimize expenditure, but put the cost of that on citizens.
How?
These increments that is coming from PRC, I pay a lot for electricity. I use the prepaid. Sometimes in a month I can pay about 5,000 cedis.
Wait, are you?
Yes.
5,000 cedis on prepaid in a month?
Yes.
Residential.
Why, you have a freezing company, ice making company, or what? No, you have an ice making company.
My goodness, this cannot be.
I'm not exaggerating. I can. I can.
I want to see, because I'm very interested in that. No, I want to see. No.
I'll show you. It's true. It's true.
5,000.
Goodness.
Yes. Is it the 11 air conditioned house is taking over or what?
No, but this one cannot be true.
It's true.
Which
92.7.
Restoration. How much do you pay?
I don't pay more than 1,000 a month.
No, then
I don't pay more than 1,000 a month.
Me, I buy 2,000 every month.
2,000,
and it's okay.
I don't pay more than 1,000. That's the truth.
No, see, we have a house and we have a house.
No,
we can have a house with 2 air conditioning, and we can have Mr. Freezer's house with 11 air conditions for all the halls, for the laundry, for the kitchen. That one is luxury, and you have to pay. If you are paying 5,000, it is luxury.
You can bring a receipt.
We have to see the size of the house, the square meter area of the house.
Oh no.
And the place that he has the air conditions.
5,000 cedis is
serious.
No, if you have a pool that you are warming the course to bath,
because you know why? My mom operates a mini cold store. She sells fresh tilapia, Dansuman Festo, right? Dansuman Festo. When you get there, you see. I don't think her electricity bill in a month, and she has about 4 deep freezers.
Yes.
I don't think her
it's
bill
on 24 hours.
Yes.
No, the deep freezers must work 24 hours.
I think,
No, but what is an obvious?
There are a few ones she turns off once a while.
My friend has just told us the life is living after government.
5,000 cedis.
5,000,
About 6 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks, 5,000.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
4 to 6 weeks, 5,000.
No.
Perhaps there might be a fault, but we are interested in seeing the bill as well.
I'll send the bills.
If I have a Tico and I'm traveling to Tamale, and you have a V8, you are traveling to Tamale,
the bill will be different.
But this one, Alabraga.
So you allow him to then I'll come to you.
Life is very difficult. Life is very, very difficult. Okay? These increments, the government must find a way of
3FM 92.
Yesterday I told Dr. Naba, we don't have money. We are a struggling country. It's true. Our salaries have not increased. I'm a public servant. Our salaries have not increased. The same minimal salaries that we receive is what we get. Small teacher at UPSC. It's not a lot of money. So if these tariffs are coming at such a cost, my brother, they should think about some of us. Okay? Because we are not in government. If they can afford it, we cannot afford it. And of course, we know that there are mechanisms that are in place every year for these calculations to go on and all of that. But the government should try and absorb some of the costs for us, because we are struggling. I'll send my bills to you for you to see it.
I'll be interested. And I have a few friends.
My house is not too far from here. I'll send it to you for you to see it. It's expensive, especially when the children
who is a friend, is a communications lead at ECG. I'm sure if those bills come in, I'll forward them to Mr.
Or maybe his meter has a problem.
I'll forward them to Mr.
Maybe his meter has a problem.
And ask for you if it's just
the math.
Yes.
If Paragraphs is paying 5,000, my goodness, by now ECG will not have peace of mind. Don't let us stretch any argument.
I don't.
It's a slip of tongue. Let's take it like that. It's a slip of tongue. You know that these people will go and cut it and make news out of it. It's a slip of tongue. I'm advising.
Between 4 weeks to 6 weeks, 5,000.
So I'll look for it so that I can forward it.
Don't look for anything. There is nothing there to look
forward. So I'll forward it to my colleagues.
It's a slip of
depending on the size of the house.
Yes.
That one
it's a slip of tongue.
So you have the floor. You have the floor now. 5 minutes.
You see. Increment of utility tariffs is nothing new.
92.7.
It is either you pay or you don't have the electricity. My difficulty has always been with the PURC. The sort of reasons that they give before increasing our tariffs. That is what is drawing all of us into this trouble. Because if you went back to 1st of April, when they did the adjustment, 1st of April, they reduced it.
They reduced.
You understand?
Yeah, for 3 months.
So when they reduce it, you just take a critical look at the data that they provided and see whether, in all sincerity, there should be the need for any upward adjustment this time, going by their own reasons. Yes, as a country, we may have incurred certain costs, which is normal. Even the generation and the distribution, they say we lose about 30% of what is distributed. Is that not the case? That one alone, you understand? So when you decrease it, you deceive the minds of the people, accumulated debt. So immediately after the election, you see that 2021, they revised it upwards, 2022 upwards. We have been doing politics with that sector. And that is why it must be a call. And I'm calling upon them this morning that their formula must be open, must be clear. There has to be clarity for all of us to know that if it is this, it is this. Because it's a utility. You can't do away with utility. Now in our modern day, without phone, you can't even live properly. And we will need electricity to power our phones. Everything now is electricity. It's no more a luxury. It's a necessity. And that is where everyone is having a difficulty with. Either than that,
influence what we call the price adjustment or utility tariff adjustment, and one of it is fuel and gas, and then the components, the equipment that they buy to renovate, to service, to expand, to replace the electricity distribution system. And in Ghana, so far, we have 71% of our power coming from, let me say,
thermal energy,
and only 20% point something is coming from hydro and solar. Definitely means that a major components of the input would go into items that we need to import, and once we are importing, we don't control the price of those ones. The other one is, let me say, we have a debt. We have a huge debt. We had a huge debt. Let's be honest. Before we took over power, and left the energy sector with a huge debt. IMF gave us some conditionalities. We must be increasing the tariffs to make sure we catch up. IMF is off. But I want to tell the MPP, IMF is off doesn't mean that we should not continue with the good recommendations of the IMF.
Of course, you have to be disciplined.
If we make a mistake and want to go back to the way His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo and Bawumia did by taking the money from people and investing it in something else, then it's going to be a problem. We have to continue with the gradual increment of tariffs both for water, electricity, so that we can sustain the energy. To me, Ghanaians should bear with the government. Let's not say because IMF has left, we should go back to what we were doing wrong for IMF to come. If we do that, we'll be creating a problem. The water sector, for now, Ghana Water Company is spending 2 to 3 times what it used to spend to clean the water for us to drink.
Is it not a result of Galamsey? Galamsey, you promised you were going to fight, and
is it only government that should fight Galamsey? All of us are fighting it. No. You see,
government has to fight it.
Government has to fight it, yes. And we all have to fight it. Everybody knows who is causing it. We all know. We all are causing it. Chiefs, politicians, military people, policemen. Everybody is doing it.
Paragraph disagrees with you strongly.
But you can't disagree with me. You can't disagree with me. It's even better now. At least it's better now.
I'm shocked.
They have to go.
We are not
say it's worse.
No, it's never worse. Show me where it is worse. So, let's talk about the water. Let's talk about the tariffs.
Look at the floods.
Let's go to the tariffs. Yes. Is there Galamsey in Accra? Is there Galamsey in Accra?
No.
Do we have Galamsey in Accra? We don't have Galamsey in Accra. But we're having floods.
The effects.
No. People are building on waterways. People are devolving wrongly. Contractors are even building culverts that do not hold water. So to me, Ghana Water Company is increasing their tariffs because they spend too much in purifying the water for us today. Even that water, some of us even fear that even the mercury there cannot be cleared completely.
No, that's why we are dying.
So we need to really help the government fight Galamsey to ensure that it's gone. Let's establish what we call the corporate mining. Let them mine responsibly and then we move. But for increment in tariffs, every country increases tariffs. To me, the increased tariff. The most important thing is that when you tax me money to build a road for me, please, I want at the end of the year, the Auditor General to tell me that the road has been built and the money has been used wisely. If you tax me to recover
quick rebuttals, if there were any, before I proceed.
They don't have rebuttals.
Before I proceed.
No, but the government must be up and doing in terms of the Galamsey. Go after the campaigns like they are doing, which means that if we were to arrest all the campaigns, we know them, not that we don't know them. We know them, we just have to act in the interest of the unborn generation and the younger ones. It affects everyone. And I'm very happy to hear that Gold Board has gone to sign an agreement with the
large-scale mining companies.
Though happy, but the most important thing I want to hear next time is that we are buying from our own Ghanaian companies. Well, it's the foreign companies that are going to sell to Ghana. The gold is for Ghanaians. You understand? So that we are making progress. And to that extent, the idea of getting it from more from the local, the small scale, who are mostly extending their mandate into doing illegalities, would be a bit minimized.
Right. This week we woke up to news of methamphetamine leaving the shores of Ghana to Australia. It's Australia, right? A person was arrested, $296 million worth, was put in shackles and what have you. NACOC told us yesterday they've been able to arrest some persons in connection with it on our local front, but it resurfaces conversations about drug trafficking and drug trade and what role we are playing as a country. Also fallen back on a lot of the allegations which were made by Intim Fojwe in the past and this recent development. Is it a case that authorities are being fast in picking intelligence and arresting these persons, which is a reason why we are hearing more?
But a key question to ask is, how come we couldn't pick it up in Ghana? That's key for me. Because if people believe that we can pass it through Ghana, then we are not safe. It means anything can pass through here. Because I was following the news and the reportage. I was told that when it got to Australia,